This 2026 Daytona 500 Picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Kalshi. Make real money predicting sports. Kalshi is available in all 50 states, and you get $20 free with promo code SGPN. That's Kalshi, promo code SGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. Before we get this episode started, I would like to just take 1 minute to mourn the loss of not just a member of this family, but of course my family, and my brother Nick, who passed away this weekend. Big fan of the show, big fan of NASCAR, the one that put me into this world. I would not be sitting in this seat were it not for the 2003 Daytona 500, in which he introduced me to this wonderful world of NASCAR and allowed me to just live it through him. And, again, he's been a big fan of this show, and he will be sorely, sorely missed. And I can think of no better episode to dedicate to him than the Daytona 500 episode. So we'll miss you, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely love it. Obviously, thoughts are with you and your family. As we've talked, Rod, your brother was a great guy. From the little bit I got to know him through the show, through the comments, and through you, of course. So it's always it's an extra special place for the ones who introduce us to racing, because we fucking love some racing. So shout out to Nick, and rest in peace. And this episode's for him.
Indeed, yeah, and he would most certainly want the show to go on, because there's no other way to do it. NASCAR is the way we bonded very early on in the world, and we'll continue to do so through the show. But it is, of course, Cody, the Daytona 500, baby. We are here. All of everything that led up to this is gone, and the only thing that is ahead of us is a full week worth of Daytona, the duels and the race, and just and you want to get to it even more because you got to wash some memories out of your mouth.
Oh, this is the real Super Bowl, Rod. The only Super Bowl that matters. The only Super Bowl I want to talk about. But it's a great week of racing. We get, starting Wednesday, is nonstop racing action. Daytona 500 qualifying, single car on Wednesday. Thursday, we get the dual races, a nice little appetizer for the weekend. Friday, we get the Truck Series, 44 entries for the trucks, loaded with superstars: Tony Stewart, Travis Pastrana, Cletus McFarland, Carson Hocevar. The list goes on. Saturday, we get the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, formerly known as the Xfinity Series, of course. That's got guys like Carson Hocevar in it too. Let's go. And then Sunday, the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. Let's fucking go. It is going to be such a great week of racing, such a great week of action, such a great week for betting. So excited.
I would love nothing more than to just let everybody that wants to race. Wouldn't that be amazing if every car or every truck that wanted to get there could get there?
I commented, somebody posted that over in the Win the Race Discord. They said 44 entries, and I said, let them all race. Give us what we want. Can you imagine? And it does sound, we could get up to 40 trucks, which we'll break that down on the Truck Series episode because there's some extra provisional possibilities for Dodge if they don't qualify. But I say we let all 44 trucks race. I say we put 43 back in the Great American Race like God intended, Rod. But that's okay.
What a hell of a weekend that would be, right? I would almost turn into a demolition derby at that point. There would just be so much going on.
44 trucks at Daytona. I mean, I can't think of much better things than that.
Well, we won't get 44, but we'll definitely get our fill of truck racing, of O'Reilly Series racing, and of Cup racing, of course. But if you want other stuff that's happening out in this world, there is other things. I get it. Look, there's Olympics. There's still other sports that are going on. You can find out all
basketball.
About them. Is there basketball? I don't know. You tell me. I don't know. There's some silly little sport called soccer too that's happening as well. You can find all that stuff in one convenient place. All the shows that cover this, you could go download the SGPN app for all of our free picks and our podcast all in one spot. Amazing place to just get all of that. So make sure you're hitting that there. And then, of course, we're partnered this season with Win the Race. Ryan and Greg over there doing the Lord's worth. I ran the 1,000 times simulation through Daytona. I'm telling you right now, I don't know what I was doing without this before, but I certainly won't miss it ever again because I've got it all at the touch of a button. So much good information out there from Ryan. And then, of course, you can get in the one and done pools out there as well. So go join Win the Race.
Yeah, they're giving away $1,000 for the winner of their one and done. And great price. Like if you are a person who wants to dive deeper into the analytics and all the numbers, they've got DFS tools to help you build lineups. It's $300 for the whole year. The amount of time you're going to make that back in is going to be super quick. So getting over there for the first time this year has been pretty exciting. I also ran 1,000 simulations on the 500. Carson Hocevar only won 999 of them, Rod. So there is that small chance that he might not win this weekend.
See, you opened it up. I was going to take a shot at you, but I'm not. Out of respect for what just happened, I'm going to bite my tongue and say, did the Patriots win 9? I'm not. I'm going to stop. I'm done. But make sure you go join Win the Race. They're so much fun out there as well. Laura getting in on it already. Yeehaw. Hi, guys. Laura? Absolutely. Also, thank you all for your love and your thoughts. Again, we'll all get through this, and NASCAR will be the way to get on the other side of it. Jess, you hear? Jess hears trucks, and she pops out of the woodwork.
It's her bat signal. She hears trucks, and she pops out. By the way, if you're new, you're just stumbling across this for the first time. I know people check us out when we get to the Daytona 500. Exciting year ahead. Obviously, we're going to be talking about the Daytona 500 on this extra long episode, but we also talk about the O'Reilly Auto Parts, formerly Xfinity Series, and the Truck Series. Those are both going to have their own episodes this week, so they'll be fully dedicated to just betting on those. And so, it's going to be so exciting.
Yeah, and for the record, too, if you are joining us for the first time, settle in. And if you're joining us for the 700th time, settle in. You know these Daytona episodes are mega episodes because we love the Daytona 500. And why not start the season off with the biggest show of the year, right?
The Super Bowl. You don't just bet on which team's going to win the Super Bowl, which might have been wrong in my case. But you bet on everything. You bet on the coin toss, which I was also wrong on. You bet on the Gatorade. God damn it. Okay, I missed a lot of things yesterday. But there's so many things to bet on, and that's what's great about the Daytona 500. We get that on a week-to-week basis too, but you go extra hard for the 500.
You know what I love about the Gatorade bet, though? It was you could cash it before the Gatorade bath because they were showing it, stirring it up, and everyone was like, "Yellow! It's yellow!" Yep. Absolutely.
Yep, exactly.
Slow Roll wants to know, Cody, where's the beard, buddy? Your playoff beard gone?
Yep, playoff beard's gone. It didn't work, so she's out of here. It was driving my wife nuts. It started to drive me nuts. I looked homeless in my 91 bets in 91 days. Videos. As soon as we lost, I said, "You're out of here. We're back to, this is clean shaven for me, Rob."
Yeah, well, I was going to say it's a little different in my
nobody wants to see me that shaved, but
yeah, well,
this is an appropriate level.
If you're a Facebook friend of yours, you have seen me that shaved. But, all right, Daytona week, baby. Like we said, there is lots to be had. There's lots of folks that are out there just getting ready for Daytona. No weather in sight. Am I right?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
I know. I'm trying to manifest it. That's really what this is all about. So
NASCAR's in town. There's always weather, right?
There is absolutely 100% weather.
It looks
all right.
like kind of a toss-up at this point. I mean, it's, I think, 50% chance Sunday, so it's like, isn't there a 50% chance every day in Florida? Who knows? We'll see as we get closer. Just, it is what it is, right? We're going to roll with it, and hopefully they'll get it in on Sunday, and hopefully it'll go off on time. Hopefully we won't have any delays, but if we do, we'll enjoy it either way.
Indeed. Practice and qualifying start on Wednesday for the Cup Series. And then we move on to Thursday, where you get the Truck Series practice going on, and the Duels begin on Thursday, February 12th at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern for those of you that participate in the Eastern time zone. And then, O'Reilly practice is on Friday. Man, I'm telling you, it's just hit after hit after hit after hit. And then, of course, Saturday is the qualifying for the O'Reilly series, and then the Truck Series race is Friday night as well. So got that to look forward to. Fresh from Florida 250 on Friday night. Saturday is the United Reynolds 300 from the O'Reilly series. Also ARCA. Cody, I'm going to pay a little more attention to ARCA this year. I feel like it deserves a little more of my attention.
And if you have Bovada, which is available to most people, they'll often offer outrights. We don't generally get much more than that. That's why we've not really touched on it much. But you can get outrights over there, which is exciting, especially at a track like Daytona. But I do believe Cletus is going to be running that. People like Haley Deegan will be in that race. There's definitely some other names in that one, so that's exciting. Frank making a great point. If there is a chance of weather, you can bet on that on Kalshi. You can trade the weather over on Kalshi. Make sure you use the promo code SGPN when you do that, Rod. Great spot there, Frank. Couple of housekeeping notes I have. First of all, NASCAR's, I don't know if you saw the tagline for this year, Rod, but it's hell yeah. That made me say, hell yeah. Like, that's so exciting. I think that's a great tagline for NASCAR. So props to them for that. We are also running a free, absolutely free, like everything on this network, Daytona 500 contest, Rod. You can head over to sg.pn/NASCAR contest. That's where you can get entered. All you're doing is picking the race winner. It's as simple as that. Who do you think is going to win the race? You go, you fill out that form, pick your race winner. If we have ties, multiple people that pick the race winner, we'll break that tie on our live recap show, which is going to be exciting. But the winner will get $100 cash plus $100 gift card to the SGPN store. We're also going to give out some random race officials or terrorists shirts, which who knows, we might need this weekend already, depending on how things go. But yeah, head over to sg.pn/NASCAR contest where you can get entered into that. That's going to be a pretty exciting contest there, as always.
We've run that 3-4 years in a row now? Have we run that all 4 years, or did we run it?
I feel like probably not the first year when we were just kicking off. But yeah, this is our 5th season. If you're just stumbling on, if you're new, we appreciate you. We're glad you're here. We'll get to the picks here in a minute. But, appreciate you checking us out. We were 700 and some odd episodes into this one. It's a lot. But yeah, we've been going strong this will be our 5th season. So we have a great time over here. Our schedule changed a little bit for this year, Rod. So just to kind of update everybody, this week, we have obviously the Cup Series pick show here. The plan currently, we'll see, depending on odds, they're not out yet, is Tuesday, the O'Reilly Series pick show, Wednesday, the Truck Series pick show, and then I believe we're going to wait until Friday to do the DFS show because we will know the starting lineup for the Daytona 500. So we'll actually be able to build our own lineups on that show. So that'll be exciting. We generally don't get the opportunity to build them knowing the starting lineup because that's usually not set until into the weekend. So, and then after the Daytona 500, probably on Sunday night, depending on how things go, we will have live call-in show. You can jump on here with us on YouTube. You can call in, give us your reactions, stuff somebody in the race trailer if you want to, I believe is what JDK called it. And yeah, so that's going to be really fun. And then going forward, our schedule will kind of look somewhat like Tuesdays. We'll have the Cup Series pick show live on YouTube. Make sure you head over there, NASCAR Gambling Podcast on YouTube. Click the like, subscribe, the bell, all that stuff. Tuesdays, live Cup pick show. Wednesdays will be the live O'Reilly and or trucks. If they're both racing, we'll combine them. If one of them's racing, we'll feature that series. And then Thursday will always be our DFS fantasy show. And then we'll have the live call-in recap shows after every race, Sunday night, Monday, depending on schedules and all that stuff and how the races go off. But it's going to be a really, really fun year.
I'm so excited because when we added this live call-in feature now, and we tested it out a couple of nights ago, fell flat on its face, and then we brought it back again, and it worked. And I'm, JDK calling to the hauler.
Yes, thanks, JDK. He's JDK is our official tagline creator. He brought the car lift to the show. He's bringing Colin to the hauler. We might just need to make that like a segment on the recap show. That's a good idea.
I think we will.
The hauler. And
yeah.
Just like old times, Laura. Yes, we're so excited to have the recap show back. Something we did a couple of years ago. Kind of got away from it as we were trying to, figure out the show, figure where things were going forward. But the bosses were nice enough to give us that back, and being able to add the call-in feature, I think, is really going to push that over the edge, especially now that we've got the bugs worked out. One more thing, Rod. Fantasy leagues. We've got a few of them out there. We have the Daytona 500 contest, obviously. Then we also have, we're using Grid Rival this year for our listener league. It's a fantasy league. They do contracts. So you sign a driver to a 1 to 5 race contract, somewhere in there, for a salary price. The salaries fluctuate. Your budget, I believe, fluctuates based on how you do. So that's kind of exciting. And then there's like a one race. So if you sign somebody to a contract, once their contract is up, you can't use them for a race. So it'll be a different kind of new challenge for that. So you can find that along with my one and done contest, $15 entry for that, over on our X page at NASCAR Gambling, or our Facebook, NASCAR Gambling Podcast. I have those pinned both on Facebook and on the X account. So it's got the links all there for the 500 contest, the free listener league, and then of course my $15 one and done as well. So I think that cleans everything up in the housekeeping department.
We sound like professionals. We sound like we actually do this.
We actually have it all organized this year too, because previous years it's like, oh God, I'll get this post. We're all good. We got we're finally getting this down 5 years into it, Rod.
I was gonna say it's a good thing that we're finally getting into this 5 years later. I feel like the listeners are really benefiting from us finally deciding, you know what, I think we should do this right.
Yeah, absolutely. Love our listeners, by the way. If you're listening live, get in the chat. See a lot of people here, a lot of people in the chat. We'll catch up on the chat here in just a minute. But yeah, we want to hear you guys' best bets and all that as we go along today.
Indeed, we do. But we want to also tell you about some exciting stuff that we got going on, especially with Kalshi. Real money prediction market, legal in all 50 states. Kalshi has trading options for your favorite sports, and besides sports, they got tons of other markets, including politics, entertainment, hell. Just like we were talking about earlier, you can trade on the weather. With Kalshi, you can trade on anything. Staring right now, it's Survivor 50, right around the corner, February 25th. I cannot wait. The Riz got himself, Rizzo, Rizzo. He is trading right now at 2 cents to win the biggest season of Survivor ever. So a $10 investment will pay you back $334 once the Riz God walks away with the Sole Survivor check for $1 million and the title of Sole Survivor. Absolutely love it. There's other folks on there too that can win this, but I'm pulling for Rizzo. He needs the redemption story. So $10, $334 over there on Kalshi. Go hit it now. New Kalshi customers get $20. You can even double that up when you use promo code SGPN. That's Kalshi, KALSHI, promo code SGPN. Let's talk about Rebet. We're also brought to you by Rebet. Rebet is the #1 social sportsbook and casino out there. It's available in 35 or more states, including probably yours, Texas and California. You can get in on the action with Rebet. I'm telling you, I took a look at all the markets Rebet has. Absolutely true degens. Make sure you get in there. All kinds of great stuff to check out. Plus, you get 100% purchase match up to $100 with promo code SGPN. That's Rebet, promo code SGPN. Have some fun with Rebet. That, like I said, I am a true degen as far as what I love to cover, but now because it is legal in California to rebet, I'm going to have some fun literally putting my money where my mouth is. So this will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's the great things about things like Rebet, like Kalshi, Underdog Fantasy, all those types of things where you can use them even in states where betting isn't legal because they're not exactly betting. And so, yeah, it's a nice workaround.
Indeed. JDK talking about Frank Rizzo, Rizzo. That was not a Jerky Boys reference, although I do love me some Jerky Boys. Dirty Rag getting back in my NASCAR bet since the NFL is over. 100%. We're with you on that one. So
us too.
Speaking, do you have one you want to show?
Yeah.
Oh,
well, let's just Marcus checking in. He's of course got Christopher Bell to win the Daytona 500. If you're new to the show, Marcus is very religious in predicting Christopher Bell. So yeah, that's good. Frank the Tank joining us. I know he's a newer listener, jumping over from the mothership. So good to see you, Frank. JDK in the chat, Hunter in the chat. Yeah, great to see all of you guys. I know Andrew was talking about he's getting ready to head out. I believe he heads out tomorrow for the Daytona 500.
I'm so jealous of any of you guys that are heading out to the Daytona 500 this weekend. If you're going out there, know that I'm certainly jealous of you.
Absolutely. TK in the chat, Laura, Jess. Great to see all you guys. We appreciate it. Let's go.
All right, let's get to it. We have a lot of ground to cover and all night to do it, Cody. So we're going to do it. We're going to take our time and give you our favorite bets for this episode. Now, as a reminder, for those of you who may be new to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast, this is a buffet. If you go to Las Vegas and you sit down and you see the giant selection of food that you don't ask them, can you track whether or not I'm eating this? No. You just go and you grab what you want and you sit down at your table and nobody bugs you. That is what the NASCAR Gambling Podcast is. It is a giant buffet. You take the food that you want, you take the bets that you like, and you sit down with it and you run with them. If you don't want to place the bet on it, don't place the bet on it. We're not going to give you confidence ratings. We're not going to give you unit counts. We're just going to give you what we like to play.
I might toss in some confidence ratings at points, Rod.
Fine. Cody will toss in some confidence ratings, but they're all just going to be like, I'm 1,000% certain that this is going to happen.
I don't give them out if I'm not confident in them. So there's that.
This is true. And that's another thing too. Like, we don't just pick these off the menu just to give them to you. We actually will research. We'll give you our reasons behind it. And obviously, if you're a seasoned gambler, you know that not every bet in the world is going to hit. And those that tout they've got 6,000 wins in a row are usually picking the easy ones or are not picking anything at all. So, yeah, take what you want out of these, leave what you don't want, and we'll just have some fun together. We're making NASCAR betting fun again.
And that's not to say that there's not accountability. We've brought the recap show back as part of that, right? So we can go over the bets and we will go over them and we'll say, boy, this was so close, or this was the right one because of this. It didn't work out because of that, or oh, fuck, did I bet on that? That was stupid, right? So there is the accountability part for it there. And again, everybody has different options depending on where you're at, different books. We're going to shop around, try to find the best lines and give you the book that accompanies with that. But everybody's got different options. You're going to find different things throughout the week. Things are going to move just how it goes. So make NASCAR betting fun again is our slogan for the year, along with hell yeah, because hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, Cody, where do we begin our betting card?
Well, Rod, first of all, I wanted to talk about the entry list real quickly because we do have 45 entries for the Daytona 500. They said NASCAR was dead, Rod. Does not appear to be the case. 45 entries for the Daytona 500. So your 36 chartered cars are locked into the race. We know that they have a spot. Brad Keselowski, by the way, was approved to race today by NASCAR. So all signs have him in that car, in the 6th car. If you've been paying attention, Corey LaJoie obviously filled in during the clash, but Brad should be good to go. He passed being able to get in and out of the car. That was a big part of it, all the med situation and whatnot. So those 36 cars are locked into the race. Jimmy Johnson has taken the open provisional, which they changed this year. So that car is automatically locked in. So he is the 41st entry locked into the field. We will have 41 cars. He will not be eligible for points. He will not be eligible for purse money. That obviously doesn't really matter to us betting-wise because he's going to be in the race. So we know that those 37 cars will be in the race. That leaves 4 spots for the rest of the open drivers to get in on. NASCAR's changed it up a little bit this year. The fastest 2 open cars in qualifying are locked in, good to go. They don't have to worry about anything else. They're not racing for anything when we get to the clash. So Wednesday night, we will now know 39 of the entries, and there will be 2 spots remaining. The rest of the open cars will race between the 2 dual races on Thursday night. The best finisher of the remaining open cars from each duel locks himself in and sets the 41 car field. So there's going to be some guys we talk about today, like a Justin Allgaier, like a Corey LaJoie, that aren't locked into the race yet. So check with the books. Some of them, if they don't start the race, will honor they'll avoid the bet like a player doesn't play. Some of them, all bets are action. Maybe wait and see if these guys get in before you bet them if you want to, except on the qualifying bets, obviously, that we're about to give out because, well, you need to get those in sooner. But that's kind of how it is. So the 45 entries, we have the 36 cars and Jimmy Johnson. The rest of the entries, the 8 open cars for the 4 spots. Chandler Smith is going to be driving another entry for Front Row Motorsports, using that lawsuit money to field another entry. Good for them. Justin Allgaier, he's going to be racing the 40 car for JRM, Junior Motorsports. Of course, Dale Earnhardt Jr. In association with Hendrick Motorsports there. JJ Yaley will be in the 44 car for, I believe that's New York Racing. Fast Pasta, Anthony Alfredo, he's going to be back in the 62 car for Beard Motorsports. Casey Mears is in the 66 car for the Garage 66 guys. Corey Heim is going to be entered in this one in the 67 for 2311 Racing. BJ McLeod and his backwards hat will be in the 78 car. And Corey LaJoy in the 99 car. This is an RFK entry, a 4th entry for them in that Roush Fenway Keselowski field. So those 8 drivers will compete for those 4 spots. Again, 2 of them will lock in Wednesday. The other 2 will lock in Thursday.
Hold on, Cody. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to set up this race like I always do.
I know. Yeah. See, you threw me off. That's why I'm pretty excited to get into the bets too. But
I'm super excited to get into the bets, but I totally spaced, guys, on setting up the actual race for you.
MO Kid checking in too. I missed the grand old days of 43 car field races. Me too. I do not understand. Well, I get it from a money aspect, and they've extended it to 41, so we're slowly getting there. Daytona 500 should be 43 cars. 40 the rest of the season is fine. Clearly, we're getting more than 43 entries anyway, so it's not like, we're just letting everybody in. 45 cars entered. Let them freaking let all 45 races, what I say, Rod, but give us at least 43.
That's what I'm saying. But all right, it is the Daytona 500. We are set for 200 laps around this 2.500 mile paved super speedway track for 500 miles of beating, banging, 2 wide, 3 wide, 6 wide racing. Maybe not 6 wide, but we're in for a lot of fun, my friends.
Could be. You never know.
Could be. So, all right, now, Cody, I think it's time to start setting up some bets.
We got it out of the way. We got the entry list out of the way. Let's go to the poll, to the bets, which will start with the poll bets, aka fastest qualifier. There's multiple books that are offering this. Notably, The Score, which is formerly ESPN Bet, has them. Fanatics has it. Caesars has it. Those were the 3 main ones I saw. So fastest qualifier. This is for Wednesday. So Wednesday's the single car qualifying. If you don't know how this works, Wednesday night they will go out, run single car laps, and the fastest 2 cars actually lock themselves onto the front row for the big event. And it's a pretty prestigious thing to win the pole at the Daytona 500. Some teams take it a lot more seriously than other teams, and that's part of my handicap here today. So we're going to look at this a lot like the outright market, where you like first touchdowns. If you're coming over from the NFL side of things, you find a couple of long shots you like, sprinkle a little bit, split your unit up, again, however you want to bet specifically, but that's how I look at it. I'm going to start with Kyle Larson. He is 16-1 over on The Score. So part of my handicap here is Rick Hendrick, the owner of Hendrick Motorsports, has made it very clear for a long time that Daytona 500 pole means a lot to him personally. He likes to see his Chevrolets on the front row. Many times they have locked out the front row and had an all Hendrick starting front row. Even if Hendrick cars haven't won it, cars with Hendrick Motors has won it often. And Chevrolet, just in general, has really dominated the pole scene at the Daytona 500 for quite some time. Chase Briscoe won last year in a Toyota. Joey Logano won 2 years ago in a Ford. They did change the rule this year, Rod. You can't touch the window net anymore. Stick your hand out the window. Does that take away an advantage these guys have learned over the last 2 years? Possibly. Also, Chevrolet has switched their car, right? They've adjusted their body. Now, we don't exactly know what that means, but there's a good chance they've made it more efficient. So I like that going into this qualifying, especially coming off of 2 years where they didn't win the pole. So the books have fallen a little bit asleep on the Chevrolet guys. So kind of leaning into that. So prior to Ford and Toyota leading the last 2 years, Hendrick had 3 poles in a row for the Daytona 500, and 8 of the last 9 prior to that were Hendrick starts, or Hendrick Chevys. And Chevy, I forgot to write it down, but I think Chevy had like 13 poles in a row or something. And some of those were like Danica Patrick with a Hendrick motor, Ricky Stenhouse with a Hendrick motor, things like that. So That's what I like. So I'm going to start with Kyle Larson, 16-1, very good at qualifying. Go fast, right? He's good at that. He's very good at that. 16-1 over on the score. We're going to start with him. William Byron is 28-1 on Fanatics. Way too big of a number for any Hendrick car. If you're getting Hendrick cars at these types of numbers, go bet on them. It's absolutely Rick Hendrick wants to be on the pole, and not having been on the pole the last 2 years, I guarantee that's been an off-season focus. Get these cars on the pole. That's what Rick likes to see. On that note, I'm going to go with the different Chevrolet, Carson Hocevar, Rod, 50-1. First of all, I love Carson Hocevar. And, go out there on the biggest, baddest track we have, go balls to the wall, and put it all on the edge. Who's going to do that? The guy shooting flamethrowers in the NASCAR commercial with Cletus McFarland on top of his Dale Earnhardt truck? Yes, please. That's the guy I want at 50-1. That's over on the score. Then, two really long shots, and I really like this locking in on speed because now you have Justin Allgaier at 100-1 on Fanatics in a Hendrick-powered car, and on Wednesday, we can make sure Dale Earnhardt Jr. locks his car into the field by putting it on the front row and giving Dale Earnhardt Jr. car owner a pole award at Daytona 500. Okay, I like that at 100-1 in a car that's basically another Hendrick car. Hendrick is not only going to focus on getting on the pole, but we need to focus even more on making sure this car has single car speed because we can lock it in. Even if they don't get the pole right, they want to be one of the top qualifiers because they can lock that car in and not have to worry about racing in the duels and being the top open car in their duel. So I love that angle. And to further that angle, I'm going to switch to the Ford camp here. You can get Corey LaJoie for 150-1 over on Caesars to be on the pole. Now, I know you're thinking to yourself, it's Corey LaJoie. And yes, I get it. But he's in a Roush Fenway Keselowski Ford. This isn't Rick Ware Racing. This isn't Go Fast. This isn't Spire, although I just gave you Carson Hocevar. This is a Roush Fenway Keselowski powered Ford. This car is going to be fast. This is the best opportunity he's ever had. And just like the Justin Allgaier thing, go lock this car into the Daytona 500. They are going to put extra focus in making sure that car in particular is fast in single car qualifying. Maybe the other cars, obviously, you want to qualify well at the Daytona 500, yes. And as we'll tell you throughout this episode, starting spots don't matter in this race. If I give you a bet and the guy starts first or he starts 41st, it changes absolutely nothing about how I feel about the bet because at this track and the drafting tracks in particular, starting position means almost nothing. But for guys like Rick Hendrick, it does mean something. And for these cars that need to lock themselves in, it means a ton. So Corey LaJoie at 150-1 is an insane price in a good, this isn't, he's going to go do it in a Go Fast racing car or Rick Ware Racing. That's just not going to happen. But it's a Roush powered car. It is not only, prepared by Roush, it is a Roush car. So 150-1 is just a crazy number. So Larson 16-1, that was on the score. Byron 28-1 on Fanatics. Hocevar 50-1 on the score. Justin Allgaier 100-1 on Fanatics. And LaJoie 150-1 on Caesars. Caesars apparently the only book that knows Corey LaJoie is going to be in this race, but that's okay.
I'm frustrated because nobody knows that Jimmy Johnson's going to be in this race. I've been looking for top 10 for him. Yeah. There's only a couple.
There's only, not on
a second.
Yeah, not every book has all the, which could change. Now the entry list is officially out as of this afternoon, so they might start updating those things, even though we've known these drivers were going to be in. But I like it.
Indeed. All right, so I'm going to give you a couple of other Hendrick drivers because just like Cody said, this is a Hendrick-dominated situation when it comes to the polls. And I'm going to give you Alex Bowman. Both of these guys are at 20-1 right now to take the poll down for the Daytona 500. And that is on the score. Actually, both of them are on the score as well, formerly ESPN Bet. But Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, both 20-1 to win the poll. And a lot of it is exactly what Cody said, right? Because we know that Hendrick absolutely adores having those pole position trophies in his trophy case. Unfortunately, not taking home a lot of Daytona. Well, William Byron the last couple of years, but other than that, but it was Alex Bowman in 2023 that brought home the pole. Alex Bowman in 2021 took home the pole. Alex Bowman in 2018 took home the pole. So he's got 3 poles from the Daytona 500, and that is the most of active drivers since pretty much Chase Elliott was doing it early on in the year. Chase Elliott got 2, but Alex Bowman since 2018 the most poles for active drivers right there, and then Chase Elliott kind of right behind him as well with 2 poles in 2016 and 2017. Again, this is just more of what Cody was talking about with the Hendrick pole mindset, right? Because you talk about just overall, like it said, Stenhouse and Logano and Briscoe were the 3 that kind of broke the trend. But other than that, it's just been Hendrick, and it's been all of them too. It's not, well, maybe not so much William Byron, but it's been at least Chase Elliott, it's been Alex Bowman, and it's been Kyle Larson that have been the recipients of the faster cars on Daytona. Doesn't always translate to the best of finishes for these guys, but at the very least, right, they put it on the pole and they're fast and they unload fast and they do what they need to do to get up there. And like you said, Cody, at 20-1 for guys that have done this recently, I feel like it's a bit of a misprice when, and the scores got really good pole numbers too, by the way. You got to shop around for these because in some instances, these pole numbers are much shorter. I think I saw 9-1 for Chase Elliott at one point. And just as I speak, actually, DK has pulled all their bets down for the Daytona 5. Oh, no, never mind. They have them back up again.
They saw the show was live.
They did too. They were like, all right, everybody pull them down because we can't get them up there. But I've seen much shorter odds for the pole on a couple of these books. So you take advantage of them when they're 20-1 or more. So I like Bowman and Elliott at 20-1 to take the pole.
Yeah, that's something I can't stress enough too. If you're newer to NASCAR betting, you have to shop around in NASCAR because you will notice, and we're going to do our best to point out which books we're finding these numbers at. Things change a lot in NASCAR. Apparently, LaJoie's down to 50-1 on Caesars already. I would still take it at that, but it was just 150-1 earlier this afternoon when I was looking at it. But book to book, they are drastically different on prices for outrights, for top 10s, for qualifying, for whatever it is. So, it's important. In football, if I tell you to go bet the Seahawks at 3.5, which would have probably been the right move, you could find that on most books. But in NASCAR, being such a smaller sport and not quite as popular, it does vary a lot from book to book. So I would say, if you want to kind of be a little bit serious about it, get as many, and you should have all the books anyways that are available in your area just to have options, and get everybody's specials and deals and free bets. I know our buddy Shandy has, I think he said 37 Daytona 500 bets. He's been, or was it? Yeah, it was Daytona 500 bets. He's been putting in every free bet he gets on the Daytona 500, which is a great strategy. But yeah, it's just make sure you shop around, make sure you have all the options because it really makes a huge difference when it comes to NASCAR betting.
I agree. Brian Twining, our good friend over there, JJ not to finish. Yes, minus 500. No. Plus, he also says don't hate the long shot qualifying numbers. Just keep in mind they're firing off very early. Inexplicably have 2 rounds. So
yeah, the 2-round thing. Why are we still doing that? Only on drafting. That doesn't make a lot of sense. But I'm still going to roll with the long shots just because maybe they got some little extra magic in some of those cars. Dale Jr., he likes to basically, he said before, if he ain't cheating, don't work for me. So
indeed. All right, we've got plenty of more bets to get to on the other side of this, but let me tell you about our friends over at Underdog. Underdog's got you covered for pick'em for almost every sport out there. You can get in on Underdog and win up to 5,000 times your entry. It's Olympics, baby, and we go from the Riz God to the Quad God. How about Ilya Malinin? That figure skate. That dude, I watched his free skate for the team event the other day. He crushed it. I mean, there was one little bobble that he had. Yeah, okay, but that dude was kicking quads down like you would not believe. So, yeah, the Quad God himself. They got the score for the short program, the single short program, mind you, not the one that just happened, but the single short program. I'm going to take higher than 114.89. If he keeps hitting quads like he was during that free skate during the team competition, then there is no way he is not going. Oh, hey, how about you talk about these things moving right now? Now it is down to 112.89. I'll definitely take the higher on that one for Ilya Malinin. Woo, man, you just got an instant move on that. So, 100% love him. Go watch the single skate. You will not. You just will be impressed and you will love it. But you got a brand new offer too. If you're a new customer, play just $5, get $75 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACE SGPN. Rhythm, been on a heater for college and NBA picks. Super easy to sign up. You can run predictions off the house model or make your own. Play with the sliders. If you're looking to go premium, use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off of your first month. Download Rhythm. Use promo code SGPN25.
Underdog, by the way, does have Daytona 500 listed already. Finishing positions better or worse than. They've got, I think, almost every driver. There's a lot of drivers listed. And you can do top manufacturers. So if you want to toss in this, I will be playing a lot of things. But you could toss in, a long shot, top Toyota guy, a top Ford guy, a top Chevy guy. That multiplies your return a lot really quickly.
It really does too. Plus I've been having fun with the Olympics as well. So, all right, Cody, let's keep going down the betting card.
Yes. Okay. So that was our qualifying bets to start things. Now we'll jump over to Sunday's actual race, Rod. And I'm going to start with a couple of head-to-heads. So typically on the super speedways, we go a little lighter on the head-to-heads because super speedways are very chaotic and things happen, right? As we know, of course. But found two that I like. They're both a plus money, so we're going to take that. I'm going to start over on the score at plus 105. You can get Tyrone Gibbs over Connor Zilisch plus 105. Next coming, Lord and Savior, Cross, all that stuff for Connor Zilisch. But Ty Gibbs has been solid on the super speedways, the drafting tracks, of course. We have 6 a year now with the 2 Daytona races, the Talladega races, and the Atlanta races. Last year, Ty Gibbs finished top 17 in 5 of the 6. Sure, 17 isn't all that impressive in a general sense, but he's getting to the end of the races. He's surviving the chaos. That's what I'm looking for in these head-to-heads. That's what he's done. He's been top 10, or he's been top 17 again in 10 of the last 12, which is pretty impressive. And on Connor Zilisch side of things, he's only got one start on a drafting track. It was at Atlanta, and he did have a decent finish. I didn't write it down. I think it was like a 12th place or something. So it was an okay race. But just what I'm leaning into here is Gibbs has been doing it. 10 of the last 12 races, finishing top 17, getting to the end, avoiding the chaos. Zilisch is a young rookie. He's got a lot to learn. He was getting a little aggressive last week, maybe not making a bunch of friends out there. So, yeah, give me Gibbs over Zilisch in this one. Pretty simple there. Now, Rod, for my second head-to-head here, if you're a long-time listener of the show, this one might be a little surprising to you, but I like it nonetheless. Also over on the score, plus 105, I am going to take Kyle Larson over Austin Cindric. Audible gasp by the crowd. I am on Kyle Larson, but I've got good reason to be on Kyle Larson. He seemingly, while the commandment previously had been fade Kyle Larson on all drafting tracks, all super speedways, he, and I said it for years, and this is going to be how it works out with Connor Zilisch next year or 2 years or whatever, is Larson very good at racing on super speedways, but he just could never avoid the chaos. You'd see him up front till the very end, and then, he gets caught up in it. He gets caught up in it. But things have gotten a little better for him. He's not had such a problem here lately, and he's gotten more towards the end. So if you go head-to-head last year, on 4 of the last 5 drafting tracks we had, Kyle Larson beat Austin Cindric in 4 of 5 of them. And then the one that he didn't, Cindric won at Talladega and Larson finished second place. So pretty dang close, right? He was right there. He finished 6th here in the fall race. He was 11th in the 500 last year, 10th in the 2021 500. So even going back, he's had some good finishes previously in the 500 in particular. 10th in the 21 500, 7th in 19, 7th in 2016. So he can certainly get it done. Finished 3rd at Atlanta last year. He has an average running position of 13.4 from our guys over there when the race handed that stat over to me. So appreciate that. And then for Austin Cindric, 34th at Talladega, 39th at Daytona, 38th at Atlanta 2, 28th at Atlanta 1. A pretty rough stretch for a guy who typically pretty good on super speedways, but maybe risks it a little bit more, gets caught up in the stuff. And then Ryan over at iFantasy Race shared this. Over the last decade of Daytona 500s, Kyle Larson is 6 for 10 in finishing between 7th and 12th. Good runs there. If he didn't run out of gas last fall at Talladega while leading on the inside lane, might have just had 3 straight top 6 finishes at big super speedways in a row. So Kyle Larson, I've been saying it for a long time, greatest race car driver in the world right now. He is starting to figure out his kryptonite, his one weakness. he's figuring it out. So I'm on Kyle Larson. I'm going to take him over Austin Cindric, who's been on the struggle bus when it comes to drafting tracks, at least for a majority of last year. Maybe that'll carry over into this year. Larson over Cindric, plus 105 over on the score.
And really, honestly, too, with Kyle Larson, maybe this is the come up only because he is coming off of the championship season. Maybe he's feeling it again. We put this ugliness of Indy behind him and he can move on to be Admiral Unshook, and we can celebrate his greatness once again and not worry about whether or not he's, to the core, just nerve every time he gets out on a super speedway. So I like both of these. In fact, no, I don't.
Well, and that's
just kidding.
That's the thing with Larson, though, is now he should have some confidence. Like, okay, I can do this. I mean, there were specials on TV last year as kids poking fun at him. Like, oh, he sucks at super speedways. Owen was just like, and he's started to figure it out. He's got that confidence. So now I think when he straps into that car, okay, here we go. And it's biggest stage, is the biggest moment. And that's where he tends to come through most of the time. Captain Shook parts aside, but hey, defending champion, right? This is the one thing missing off of his resume. We'll talk about that about a lot of guys, right? That one big thing missing. This is it for Larson. I don't know that he's going to win, but I think he can have another decent finish like he's done many times here, especially in the 500.
Yeah. The only thing that I don't agree with you on, obviously, is your I took the other side of your Zilisch Zilisch guy as well.
You can have the minus 120 side, Rod. That's fine.
Okay, fine. Although I did see that part is alive too, because I actually took, what is it? I took Gibbs over I took Zilisch over Gibbs, and then I took Travion Henderson over George Hilani in terms of rushing yards.
Yeah, hopefully you listened to our prop show last week with the Super Bowl crossover stuff. Quite a few of those bets are still alive. There's a few of them that went down in flames, but a lot of them we have some pretty good odds. And I saw some guys in the Discord. Dano, I think it was, checking in over there, has like a 45-1 on Blaney now because he parlayed him with something that happened in the Super Bowl, and so now he's just got a big outright on one of the favorites, that's a great way to get in on that.
Yep, a lot of mine are alive because I did exactly the right thing. So we'll go for that. All right, I'm going to take my head-to-heads now. Two new teammates now. It's Daniel Suarez and McDriver, also known as Michael McDowell. They are paired up on the score in a matchup. Obviously, Suarez making the move now to Spire to team up with Hocevar and McDowell. I'm going to go ahead and take Daniel Suarez over Michael McDowell. And it might seem counterintuitive because you think Michael McDowell and you're like, oh man, Michael McDowell, great at super speedways. And yeah, he's okay, right? But over the last few races here in the next gen era at Daytona, a 7th in 2022, 28th in 2023, 36th rather in 2024. He did rally for an 11th place finish in last year's Daytona 500. But again, for Daniel Suarez, he actually is 13th overall in terms of average finish in NASCAR, whereas Michael McDowell is 20th. So for Daniel Suarez, and I know he was in Trackhouse equipment, but 18th, 7th, 34th, and 13th in the next gen era. And he was doing that in Trackhouse equipment, which, let's be honest with you, is somewhat comparable to Spire anyways, because they're both sort of the mid-tier of the sport. They're both close enough and they're both Chevys. So it's not like there's that much of a drastic difference. And if we're talking about Hocevar being lightning fast, and look, Daniel Suarez showed us a little something, albeit on a short track, on a quarter-mile track, but he was actually showing us a little something in the Clash as to where he's not going to just lay back and take this year. Like, he's going to assert some dominance. He does think that he belongs in the conversation with the best in the garage at Spire. And he's not that bad overall in terms of super speedways in general. And if you look at our buddies over there at Win the Race, they actually have McDowell just a touch higher in terms of top 10 percentage between McDowell and Daniel Suarez. It's like a 2% difference between top 10 percentage. McDowell comes out a little ahead here. But again, all of that was in Trackhouse equipment. If they're in equal equipment, then I think Daniel Suarez has just amount of chance. And this is a minus 115 bet, which tells me that the books also believe that this is just about a coin flip on either end, whether or not Suarez can beat McDowell. So I'm going to go with the Suarez side of this because he's invigorated, got a new team. Michael McDowell's not necessarily all that, I guess, consistent on super speedways. So give me Suarez over McDowell, minus 115. You can find that over on the score. And then I'm going to take Kyle Busch, and I'm going to take him in a head-to-head over Brett Keselowski. Look, I know We just talked about the fact that he's cleared. We know that he is 1000% ready to race, but is he? That's the thing about it, man. I know when a lot of these guys get into these race cars, they feel like they're really ready to go. They pass the test, but 500 miles of the type of racing that you're doing at Daytona, it's not for the weak. It's not for the guys that are going to have soreness, or because he hasn't done this. I mean, this is sitting in your car for the better part of 4 hours, 4.5 hours. And, I sit in my car for an hour and I can't get out anymore because I'm like, you have to pour me out of my car. And I'm only doing it for an hour in not precision equipment, not racing within a fraction of an inch of the car in front of me. So
have you seen Brad Keselowski? He looks like an elite athlete to me, Rod.
100% looks like an elite athlete. I'm
He's got to be the most unathletic driver in the history of the sport.
And don't feel bad, Brad, because if people see me, they don't see a well-tuned soldier, right? I am a soldier, but they don't look at me and they're like, oh, what? You're what? So I get it, Brad. I'm 100%. But also our friends over at iFan, or at Win the Race rather, they give a slight edge, actually a pretty decent edge to Kyle Busch in terms of the top 10 percentage for Kyle Busch as opposed to Brad Keselowski. So, the edge there in the top 10 percentage. So obviously if they're giving him a better chance to finish inside of the top 10 than Brad Keselowski, it usually means in a head-to-head, they're going to come out on top. So, and also because the fact that Kyle Busch is actually plus 105 to win this matchup, he's the underdog in this. I like it. And we talked about Kyle Busch. It's time, right? It's time for him to be better this season overall. Kyle Busch, 11th overall in average finishes on the Daytona 500, whereas Brad Keselowski, 25th overall. The last three Daytona 500s for Keselowski, 26th, 33rd, 22nd. For Kyle Busch, the last ones, 34th, 12th, 19th, but a 6th place in 2022. So give me Kyle Busch over Brad Keselowski. Give me Daniel Suarez over Michael McDowell.
Yeah, I like both of these because McDowell and Keselowski, you look at him and you're like, oh, McDowell's won the 500 before. Keselowski's won a million times at Talladega, and he hasn't won the 500, but really good at super speedways. But they're good at being there at winning, but the consistency in the finishing isn't always there between both of them. They're more of a go for broke, and it's paid off for both of them, certainly. But also, like you just showed with his last three finishes, it's not paid off as well for Brad. Brad does have that commercial out there about how he's just that is such a great commercial about everything. Just show it, like his alarm goes off at 5 o'clock. It says 500. It's great. If you haven't seen the Keselowski 500 commercial, but yeah, I do like both of those, especially getting the plus money on Kyle Busch. I love that one.
Hey, listen, real quick though, shout out to Win the Race, because I'm telling you right now, it opens up a whole different analytic brain in me. I look at it now, I'm like, man, why was I not doing this before? Yeah. And I'm so glad we're doing it now.
It's going to change the way I think we look at a lot of these bets is really diving in. And, I'm especially excited once we get past the super speedway stuff, obviously, because that, a lot of the same process goes into that. But once we get into the more traditional tracks, I think is when that's going to really lend a hand and be really exciting. Kyle checking in. He's got minus 115. Buescher over Chastain has hit in 8 straight Daytona races. That's pretty solid. Yeah, so there you go. It's not officially on either of our cards. I do have some thoughts on Buescher in a little bit, but it's a good one.
Indeed. All right, top 10 bets. Let's get into those.
Yeah, we got some top 10 bets for you, Rod. I am going to start out. Top 10 market is certainly not what it used to be in the Daytona 500, unfortunately, but still pretty good. I will say FanDuel, for the most part, way better top 10 odds than almost everywhere else. It's kind of crazy, the difference. Again, to shop around, not all of them, but for these two that I found, certainly were the better ones for the quote-unquote longer shots. We're going to start with AJ Allmendinger, plus 330 over on FanDuel. I don't remember what I parlayed him with last week, but whatever it was, I think hit. So I've got like a 7-1 now on him, which is great. So he blew an engine last year very early in the race. It was extremely disappointing because I had action on him then. But prior to that, 6th place here in 2024, 6th place here in 2023. Now, he had a gap from 2019 through 2022 where he didn't start in the 500 back when he was racing in the Xfinity Series. So his previous start was 2018. He started 10th place finish in that race. 2017, 3rd place finish. So 4 top 10 finishes in the Daytona 500 in particular in a row until early engine trouble last year. I mean, there's not much you can do about that, right? If the engine expires, is what it is. They got Dodge working on the engines this year, on the Chevy engines, I think. I don't know. I'm not worried about that. I'll be worried about that later on in the season and other places, but not at Daytona. AJ has been very good in the Daytona 500 in particular. He's been a very good super speedway driver. Again, we always think of him as a road course guy, but really good at the drafting track stuff. He got that Talladega win a couple of years ago when he was in the Xfinity Series still. But he's been able to translate that well, especially in the 500. Big race. He's a guy that's been around a long time. Very calm, just goes out there and does his thing. Plus 330 just to finish in the top 10, which he's done 4 starts in a row if you toss out the blown engine last year in the 500. I like that. So AJ top 10 plus 330. And then Riley Herbst. I kind of like him for a top 10 plus 480 on FanDuel. Again, the top 10 odds you're getting this week aren't great, so I'm looking for longer shots of guys that I really think are capable of doing it. These are 2 guys in solid cars. Riley Herbst has a decent record here. 17th place last year, so just outside of the top 10, but was running well. 24th here in 2024. He was in the Rick Ware car, okay, fine, but he finished 10th place here in 2023 in his first career start in the Cup Series in the Daytona 500 in a Rick Ware car that year. So 3 starts. He made it to the end in all 3. Top 17 in 2 of the 3, so I'll take that. At a longer shot, he's also in a 2311 Toyota. We know Bubba Wallace is very good in this race. We know his car owner, Denny Hamlin, 3-time winner of this, very good in this race as well. So I think that he could find his way into the top 10 at the end. Again, as you get towards the bottom of this, you're looking at the guys like the J.J. Yaleys, who we don't know if they'll make the race, stuff like that. B.J. McLeod, Cody Ware even. But these are guys in better rides, solid equipment, that all they got to do is survive the chaos, get to the end, be in the top 10 at the end. So A.J. Allmendinger plus 330 on FanDuel. Riley Herbst plus 460 on FanDuel as well.
Yeah, and for me, I love it because AJ Allmendinger, obviously my spirit driver, and if you can get him anywhere near a 1-4 shot to win this one or to cash a top 10, I absolutely love it. And then for Riley Herbst, I mean, why not, right? I mean, we've seen some crazy things happen. We know that Trackhouse equipment is still good, even though Chastain and
even though he's in 2311.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I did it again. This is the first time I did it this year.
If you're new to the show, we have a drinking game here, and you'll get pretty drunk at times. Rod, for the life of him, cannot figure out the difference between 2311 and Trackhouse. They did come into the series at the same time, so I'll give you that. There's some similarities, other than Michael Jordan, but
to me, I swear to God, I blame old age. I'm just getting to the point now where you should probably put me to bed and give me my milk and cookies and call it a day. But yes, he's in 2311. But, Reddick and Bubba are both going to do well, and he's got good drafting partners. And, I mean, all those Toyotas are pretty good drafting partners as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Laura tossing out SVG at plus 260. I do like that. He didn't make either of our cards because we can only put so many bets on here. We did put a lot, but I do like that. I think SVG is going to be very good in this race again. He's been solid on the super speedways, I believe, for the most part. Veteran driver. He's figuring out things, figuring out the draft. I think he's going to have a solid season. I think we both had him making our chases when we did the predictions last week. So, I do like that, Laura.
Do you want an official SVG bet? How about SVG top 20 minus 110 over on BetMGM?
BetMGM does have top 20s, which is an interesting market. None of those, I don't think either of us put any of those on the card.
I did.
You did. Oh, you did. Perfect.
I did.
You did. Look at you, Rod. But yeah, that's pretty sweet. Again, the odds aren't the greatest things in the world, but there's a lot of drivers around that 110 range, which what we have to do is beat a little more than half the field since there's 41 cars, but pretty solid.
Yep. So I like that. I like a little SVG action top 20 minus 110. What I also like in the top 20 market, and I'll just kind of flip this script because we're talking top 20s. Jimmy Johnson top 20. You knew that I was going to get myself a Jimmy Johnson bet in there. That beautiful baby blue Carvana 84 car just eating up the track. He's definitely in the race. We know he's taking that champions provisional, that winner's provisional. So there's no sweat. He's going to be in the field. And for him to get a top 20 in this particular race, first of all, I would just completely love every second of it. But Jimmy Johnson, I'm not going to regale you with every single stat for Jimmy Johnson because it doesn't really matter to me in this instance, because a top 20 for Jimmy Johnson and a guy that's actually done well to get inside of the top 10 in some of these races in the Daytona 500 recently, driving his own equipment. Look, I'll tell you right now that top 20 at minus 110 doesn't sound sexy because we tend to sort of kind of put ourselves into the plus money territory and the gigantic payouts. But, minus 110 is an even money bet, right? And there's no reason why you shouldn't necessarily just grab an even money bet for a guy that has finished so well over the last few seasons and just been a champion of the sport, right? It just feels to me a little disrespectful that you're going to go in and do that to Jimmie Johnson, who, by the way, finished third in the Daytona 500 last year after starting 40th. That's the only handicap you need. So Jimmie Johnson, minus 110 for a top 20. Again, it's not sexy, but it'll cash. And then bump him up to a top 10 at 3-1, right? The thing about it is that he did it last year. These now Toyota, they've embraced their legacy motorsports folks after we saw kind of an improvement at the end of the year between Eric Jones and John Hunter Nemechek running pretty well together. And for Jimmie Johnson, that's what he's trying to build off of. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to make it to where this is an elite team in the Toyota camp. It's elite team in NASCAR. So if Jimmie Johnson's got his name attached to it, it's not going to stay too down for too long. And I love it. So top 10 for him is a plus 300 over on MGM. And then I'm going to take his teammate, John Hunter Nemechek, his driver, at 3-1 for a top 10 finish over there on FanDuel. And John Hunter Nemechek, believe it or not, according to our friends over at iFantasy Race, has the best next-gen average. Granted, he's only got 2 races in the Daytona 500 in 2024 and 2025. But guess what? They were both top 10 finishes, a 7th place finish in 2024, a 5th place finish in 2025. I mean, John Hunter Nemechek just so sneaky good at just kind of flying under the radar, not getting in any trouble, and literally just, being where he needs to be. And I absolutely love John Hunter Nemechek. And if he's going to be up there, Eric Jones is probably going to be up there, which puts Jimmie Johnson in the mix. And, everybody's happy at Legacy. So I like, especially at 3-1, our friends over at iFantasy Race have about 25% for a top 10 percentage. So, 1 in 4 shot, which is exactly what the odds dictate. So the price is right for a John Hunter Nemechek top 10 at plus 300 and a Jimmie Johnson top 20 at minus 110 and a top 10 at 3-1 as well.
Yeah, like it. No arguments for me. I've actually got more thoughts on both of those guys as we go along. So I'll save them for that, but completely agree on these bets with you.
Beautiful. If you didn't, then we wouldn't be friends anymore, but that's okay. All right. Well, we've got your boys that coming up right here.
Yes, Rod. Well, time to break it out. Could be the last time we ever get to use it in the Daytona 500. Who knows? Mm-hmm. Hopefully not. The beautiful Corey LaJoie. He doesn't have the hair anymore, but he's got the mustache, so we'll take what we can get. You can get him for a top 5 over on the Caesars at 5-1. And then hopefully they'll update this, Rod, but they currently have him listed in the top Chevy market, which I'm not sure why, because he drove a Ford last year and he's also driving a Ford this year. So I'm going to give out the bet at the number he's set at 14-1 for top finishing Ford, but it's currently top Chevy. So don't bet it at that. Wait until they adjust it to Ford. I'm sure some more books will have manufacturer stuff nobody else did at the time earlier when I was looking and setting these picks finally. But Corey LaJoie top finishing Ford 14-1-ish, going to take it. The top 10 market used to be, that's where you could get your long shots. That's where we don't get that as much anymore, but the top manufacturer market is kind of where that shifted to. You can still get some good numbers on guys. So that's what I like. For LaJoie in particular, 23rd place or 22nd place finish rather last year, Rick Ware Racing. Again, he's not locked in. I will mention that. So if you want to wait until Wednesday night or Thursday when we find out for sure if he's in the race, I don't blame you for that. But 22nd place finish last year, that 01 car for Rick Ware, the extra car, whatever. Finished 4th place here in 2024, though, in a good ride in that Spire car. Cashed us a ton of bets that day. 16th and 23 for a solid day. 14th and 22, solid day. 9th place in 2021. 8th place in 2020 in that Go Fast Racing 32 car. That was not very good. So he's been able to do well here. I like to give him credit for 2.5 top 5 finishes at Atlanta. Of course, he's finished in the top 5 twice and then was leading with 2 laps to go, and we had him at 250-1 to win before he got wrecked, but it is what it is. 4th place finish a couple years ago at Talladega. 7th and 11th place finishes at Talladega in that Go Fast car. He's been able to make the best of the equipment he has. And for Corey LaJoie, look, he pretty much thought he was done, right? I mean, he basically resigned to, I'm not going to race anymore last year because he didn't like racing at the lower levels, even though I think he's going to be in the truck race now. Whatever. But that's a whole other thing for whatever it is. But this is a huge opportunity. And not only is he getting another chance to make the Daytona 500 and race in it, he's getting to do it in an RFK car. You look at guys like Chris Buescher, who's amazing at Daytona. You look at guys like Brad Keselowski, all his super speedway wins. Yes, we talked earlier, it's inconsistent finishes. Part of what Brad thinks the reason is they're not getting enough help. Let's bring another car in with an excellent super speedway driver. And you toss Ryan Preece in there. If he can stay off of his lid, he can do well, right? He's had some airborne issues previously. But this is by far, you look back through LaJoie's career, Rick Ware Racing, Go Fast Racing. I don't even remember some of these teams, Spire. Now he's in an RFK car. This is by far the best car he'll ever have. The top 5, I think at 5-1 is a great number. Love the top Ford at 14-1. And then also going to take a couple of other Fords. Again, not a ton of Fords in the race, so you like that, right? Get a couple shares in here. We're going to take Chris Buescher at 10-1 and also Zane Smith at 18-1. Buescher, as it was pointed out, has been very good here. In particular, where'd my Buescher? Boy, did I forget to write down my Buescher stats?
He got buried by LaJoie.
He got buried by the LaJoie stats. Let me pull up my Chris Buescher tab. But for Chris Buescher and I can't type and talk, Rod.
It's all right. That's a skill that takes another 700 episodes.
We'll get there someday. But for Chris Buescher and for Zane Smith, again, you're just getting guys that give you good opportunities to go in here. So Chris Buescher, August race here, 7th place. The 10th place. That's 2 good finishes. The August race of 24, 10th place. The Daytona 500 in 24, 18th. You'd like to see a little better. He won here in the fall of 23, 4th place in the 23 Daytona 500. Really, really good runs for Chris Buescher. He won a dual race here back in 2022. Pre-next gen era, 9th place in 2020, 3rd place in the 500 that year, 10th place. He's got 7th place in the 19, 5th place in 18, 5th place in the 18 500, 10th. JTG cars, 10th, 9th. Like, great runs by Chris Buescher here. He's been very good. We always think of Brad Keselowski, but every time you see Brad Keselowski doing well, who's right there with him? It's always Chris Buescher. Now, you add Corey LaJoie to that mix. Again, that's going to be, I think, a powerful trio with Ross Chastain or Ryan Preece in there. I got Trackhouse mixed up. Pulling a Rod there. So, love that. And then for Zane Smith, same thing, right? You're just getting another guy that has done okay, at least on the super speedways in a smaller Ford field that can do well. So you go back and you look, not all the finishes have been great, right? Bad finishes really in both of last year's races. But prior to that, 24, he finished 13th in both races. And in 2023, he finished 13th in the 500 there. He doesn't have an extensive amount of starts here because he's only been in for a couple of seasons. But good runs by Zane, and maybe he's the last Ford standing, right? Maybe Brad does wreck again and takes all his other Ford compadres with him. So I like sprinkling a few different guys in these top manufacturer markets. So LaJoie top 5, along with the top Ford at 14-1-ish. Again, we'll see if they list it. Bet Rivers has top 4. Hunter, help me out. What's Corey LaJoie? Is he listed? Because that's been a problem on some of the books. And what's his top Ford number if he is? And then, Buescher top Ford at 10-1 and Zane top Ford at 18-1.
With the mass exodus of all of the drivers on Ford to Chevy, then that just does kind of thin the Ford pool, and it makes that a little more lucrative of a market. I think we're going to the first few races, I think we're really going to find out where we're at Ford wise. And I see this as a market that we can totally capitalize on.
Well, and you don't think like, oh, losing Cole Custer and Cody Ware doesn't make a huge difference, but that's 2 less Fords you got to go out there and beat. And Corey LaJoie's in a Ford, but he was last year too, so it's not really adding another Ford to the mix. And then you might get another Ford that makes the race like I'm drawing a blank. Who's starting the other front row car? But you might have some other Fords that make it, but then that's more help for the Fords, and maybe they do better. 18-1 for Corey LaJoie. Look at that. We'll make that the official play. So, Bet Rivers, shout out to Hunter. 18-1 for Corey LaJoie, and you get 25-1 for Zane. Again, shop around. Bet Rivers was not up earlier when I looked. but now they are. Maybe getting some better numbers over there. Shop around in NASCAR. Very, very important.
Indeed. All right. Top 5 numbers sometimes are hard, or top 5s in general are hard to get behind at Daytona, because that could change from the outset of turn 4, or even, the straightaway of the thing before the checker flag. It could all change. But these are a couple of good numbers that I like on a couple of drivers that I think have a good shot at top 5s, because they've been there, they've done that. And I feel like the consistency of them being able to be at least competitors in a top 5 each and every Daytona 500 makes this a pretty solid bet, especially at almost 4-1. Bubba Wallace, top 5, plus 375 over on Caesars. Again, an almost 4-1 bet for Bubba Wallace. Comes in as the 7th highest ranking in terms of average finish overall on this track. He's got 2 top 5 finishes in 4 next-gen races. Chandler Smith, there it is, JDK, the other front row motorsports. This is why we have the smartest audience in the world.
That's why we go live, so you guys can help us out.
Thank God, because when we look like stumbling idiots that we are, see, that's why we don't like to get exposed for who we are. And what's funny is that neither one of us have egos enough to where if somebody calls us out, we're like, oh my God, it's the end of our career. It's like, no, dude, we're human. This is what happens.
Exactly.
So, but like I said, Bubba Wallace has the 2nd place finish in 2022, and then a 5th place finish in 2024. Unfortunately, it's not particularly checkers or wreckers for Bubba Wallace, but it is sort of like top 5 finish or not 5 finish for Bubba Wallace on either one of these. But again, we talked a lot, especially in the offseason, about the growth of Bubba Wallace at the end of last season, and just the way that he has pretty much made himself a much more grounded driver, and a driver that's not going to react all that much anymore to, I say overreact, I guess, to all of the adversity around him. He's just going to go out, drive himself a nice, clean race. And I feel as if this year, and of course, if you want to buy into the even year conspiracy of all of this, it was a 2022 top 5 finish for him, a 2024 top 5 finish for him. And what year is today? 2026. So maybe we're on to something. Even year Bubba Wallace on the 500 is a top 5 finisher. And at plus 375, you want any edge you can get. So I absolutely love Bubba Wallace as a top 5 card. And then Alex Bowman being somewhat disrespected by the books, 5-1 for a top 5 for Alex Bowman. And I get it, right? He's sort of like, I'm not going to say it because it's not that disrespectful for him, but Alex Bowman has the 2nd highest average finish in the next gen era when it comes to all drivers. He should not be 5-1 for a top 5 finish when he did it in 2023. He finished 5th. 2024, he finished 2nd. In 2025, did he get a top 5 finish? No. Oh my God, he was 1 spot away in 6th from a top 5 finish. But again, we hammer home the consistency of Alex Bowman. And I understand that it's not going to win you outright. It's not going to win you a ton of races. But when you're betting on NASCAR, we've talked about this, especially at the onset, you're in it to make money. And a guy like Alex Bowman, I draw back to the league where they're like, there's not a guy like me, there's just me. So for Alex Bowman, right, he's 10th place driver pretty much every single week that he gets behind the car. So in a race where he's particularly a top 5 driver at 5-1, he's like what, 2 out of 3. 0.7. He's 75% in the last 3 races finishing top 5. There's not a 5-1 chance that he's going to do it. He should be minus 250 for this. So take him at 5-1 and run with it. I absolutely love it. Bowman top 5, 5-1, and then Bubba Wallace top 5 plus 375.
He often gets overlooked. Some podcast hosts might even forget to put him in the chase because he gets overlooked so much, Rod.
That's funny. You did too. By the way, the 5-1 is on the score and plus 375 is on Caesars.
I did forget to put him in my chase, but I'm going to stand by that. But hey, he's been pretty solid in this. Often overlooked Alex Bowman. So there you go. Top Toyota market. You're going to attack that one, even smaller than the Ford market, right? There's less Toyotas in the field. I'm just going to go to the 2 longest shots, make it as easy as possible. John Hunter Nemechek at 16-1 on Caesars is crazy. I don't know why he's so long. When you mentioned it, he's been pretty good. He finished 17th last year. The best of days, but it was fine, right? He got to the end. No, that was in the fall. Sorry, 5th place in the 500, where he had a great day, obviously, and all the legacy cars really finished very well. 15th place here in the fall in 24. So maybe he's a little worse in the fall. Okay, but it's still decent finishes. 7th place in the 500. So in his 2 next gen 500 starts, 5th and 7th place finishes, an average 6th place finish. That's pretty solid, right? And then his previous 2 starts that he had back in 2020 when he was with Front Row, 11th place in both Daytona starts. Won the 500, won the fall back in 2020. He's been really solid here at Daytona, and particularly in the 500. Just go out and beat the other Toyotas. Again, maybe you have to win to do that. Maybe you have to finish 11th or 12th place to do that. We've seen that before, where you get a string of Chevrolets in the top 10 or a string of Fords, and then the first of one of the manufacturers doesn't come until 12th or 13th because half of them wrecked out on a pit stop cycle or got caught up in the big one because they were pushing each other, whatever the case is. We see that plenty. So 16-1, a big number for him. And Jimmy Johnson, you brought him up as well. 20-1. Look, I will be the first one when we get on here for the San Diego race and Rod's trying to bet on Jimmy Johnson to say, do not listen to Rod. Don't bet on him. But at a track like this, you can bet on Jimmy Johnson because, like we know with bad cars, or in this case, older drivers, the super speedway drafting element can cover that up. Jimmy's not been very good since he's returned in a part-time role, right? But he finished 3rd place in last year's Daytona 500 because, well, the drafting track, right? He knows how to do that. He's a veteran. He's won before in the Daytona 500. Now, that wasn't good enough for Top Toyota because Tyler Reddick got it in 2nd place, but putting himself in position with that chance to do it, that's what we're looking for. We do know that Jimmy's locked into this race with that provisional, so we don't have to worry about that. So, yeah, John Hunter Nemechek at 16-1, Jimmy Johnson at 20-1. Again, yes, you got guys like Denny Hamlin, who's 0 for 4 finishing in the top 10, as I pointed out in the chat a few minutes ago, and hasn't been as great in the next-gen era. And there's other guys in the Toyota group you certainly have to worry about, but guys get caught up in stuff and all those things. So, like those 2 guys. And then Chevrolet, there are so many Chevys in the field, it just makes it tough, Rod. So I'm just going to throw one single dart right on one Tyrone Dillon, 40-1. He is my one dart for top Chevy. Maybe, just maybe, we get something crazy. You end up with a string of 5 Toyotas in first, and then it's a bunch of Fords, and then here comes Ty Dillon rolling in 8th. Maybe 200+ starts into his NASCAR career, he gets his first career win because we've seen that before. Guys like Michael McDowell, right? And Ty Dillon is a pretty decent super speedway racer. 22nd here in the fall, 14th here in the spring, 11th place in the fall of 23. 40th in the spring of a race, but that was an engine problem. That happens, right? But then 18th, 11th in the Petty GMS car in 2022 in this race. He's had some really good 6th place run in the Gaunt Brothers car in the Duels. Like that's a solid day. He finished 6th place here in the 2019 Daytona 500 in the old car in the Germain Racing. 4th place in the fall of that year. 6th place in 2018. He had a 9th place here in 2017. He's had good runs over his career. And for a guy like Ty Dillon, this is his opportunity to shine. This is his opportunity to have a good day. He's not going to have that a lot of places. You're going to need chaos for this, but we've seen it, right? It seems like we've had less chaos with super speedways lately, where they're getting to the last lap before they wreck or they're making these clean finishes, but that's not always going to be the case. There's always going to be these big dramatic wrecks. Crazy stuff happens if weather, if we start racing against weather or weather hits before they throw the caution. We've seen that before. Takes out the whole field, right? That's where you get crazy stuff like this. And you might be look at all these Chevys. You got all the Hendrick guys. You got all these guys. But one wreck takes out half the field. Somebody else has a problem here, gets lapped, gets caught up. It doesn't take much. And Ty Dillon's capable of getting a good finish. Anybody in this field can win. 40-1. He's my top Chevy long shot.
Yeah, and this is the last season before he's got a Hemi under the hood for sure, with Colleague probably heading over to Dodge sooner rather than later. But yeah, again, for these guys, we've seen it time and time again with super speedways. It's just all it takes is for one dude to get squirrely, one guy to bump in the wrong place, and then you're looking at Ty Dillon's winning. You're looking at Cody Ware's winning. You're looking at Ricky Stenhouse winning, which, by the way, shout out to Ricky Stenhouse for posting the drivers who are in the most wrecks since that graphic. And he was like, oh, and tell me that they gave me the nickname Wrecky Spinhouse. 100% not necessarily there. I did want to say, earlier. Where were we at? Can't remember where it was, but I think it was Brian that asked if they had missed my Ty Gibbs top 5 top Toyota and outright picks yet. I'm sorry, you have not, Brian. You did
Coming
not miss
soon.
that.
Coming soon, Brian.
Indeed. But he also did follow up and say fast pasta in the O'Reilly race. It's gonna be hard for us to get used to. Say we have a swear jar, by the way, Brian, that anytime one of us brings up Xfinity,
no more. And see, it's a tough balance too, because in the past tense, we'll often going to refer to it as Xfinity because that's what it was at the time. Like when AJ won, he didn't win in the O'Reilly; it was Xfinity, right? So we'll try and navigate ourselves through. But yes, he is going to be in a Viking Motorsport entry. There's a lot of entries in Xfinity as well. So,
you did it, swear jar.
God damn it, swear jar. There's a lot of entries in the O'Reilly race. And plan is for that to be tomorrow, possibly Wednesday, depending on odds, because we don't have any at this time. But I'm hopeful now that the entry list is out, we'll get odds tonight into tomorrow and be able to do that show tomorrow. But we'll be talking fast pasta and O'Reilly most likely.
And if it doesn't happen tomorrow, that just means you got 2 days to digest the show. So
that's right.
You'll be able to listen to one part today, one part tomorrow. That way you don't miss us too much in the interim. So hopefully it all works out. All right. I'm going to go a little different direction. I'm going to take a right turn on the super speedway and go with the average running position. Exactly. Yeah. You catch that? The average running position of the winner. They have it right now at Caesars. I'm going to take the over 15.5. That is at plus 100 over on Caesars. Now, reminder that the over means it's an over 15.5, right? So that means it's 16 and beyond. That means the average running position is 16th and back. And I take that because of a couple different things. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the fact that this is just one of those seasons that feels like it's going to be. There was a lot that went on in the offseason, right? There was so much that happened. There was a lot of different people that were doing a lot of different things, and there was a lot of drama. It almost felt like a Real Housewives of NASCAR type of situation going on, where you were tuning in for the drama. That tends to sometimes kind of linger into people, right? And there's a little more aggression. There's a little more, Chevy's got a new body. They liposuctioned or whatever it is, the GLPs. I don't know what the kids are doing these days, but like whatever's happening, Chevy did it, right? And so now there's just different. There's all kinds of crazy stuff going on. There's a new format, so you can get a little more aggressive because the winning in is not necessarily the thing. You can take a little more chances and say, all right, well, I didn't win this time. That's fine. But I do want to get a good finish, so let me push this guy out of the way, whatever, right? Whatever the case may be, I feel like there's going to be a lot of that going on this season. And just, I don't know. To me, that kind of lends itself to a more entertaining Daytona 500, which means probably there's going to be guys either laying back, because we've seen guys that don't like what's going on and they hang back, a la Denny Hamlin, right? Just sit around and run in 20th, run in the back for 3/4 of the race. And then when they figure out it's time to go, they'll start that third line and they'll move up. So I kind of feel like that's happening. But if you take a look too at some of the finishes over the last few seasons, Austin Cindric in 2022, his average running position was in 6th place. But Ricky Stenhouse in 2023, the Daytona 500 there, his average running position was in 20th place in that one. William Byron, average running position of 17th in the 2024 Daytona 500. Now, William Byron won the race. His average position was 11th in that race. But like I said, there's so much happening this year in this offseason that this just feels like a race where either the winner is not going to assert himself early and try to come up through the field late, or something's going to happen and that dude that was running in 18th position all race long finds himself in the third line and running around everything that's going on and passes everybody for the win. I don't know. This is one of those, I feel it in my jellies. So if you don't like gut handicapping, this is not a one for you. I don't have years and years worth of stats to back this one up. This is just a fun one, and it's minus 115. So it's literally, it's plus 100. So, it's as close to as coin flip as you can get. But I like the average running position of the winner at over 15.5 over on Caesars.
Yeah, don't mind this one at all. Obviously, can come from anywhere, and we'll often see a Cody Ware out leading the race for a while. They'll kind of, they'll let a guy like that go out and burn his fuel. You can save the farther back you are, the more fuel you're going to save. We're going to see fuel savings in this race. People like it. People don't like it. We're going to see it. So yeah, it could certainly be somebody that hangs out in the back. So I do like that. Andrew checking in says he likes betting on the duels the most. They don't want to tear up the cars. Betting on the duels is fun. We get a small window between Wednesday and Thursday when we know the duel lineups. That's a great time to be in the Discord, sg.pn/Discord, which is also where you can call in on these live recap shows we have. So if you haven't joined the Discord, jump in over there. Great conversations continually going on over there, but we will definitely be talking duel betting over there. And then, YouTube Shorts, I might make that as well. But all right, Rod, I took one out of your page for this one. I'm going to go with the winning car number over on Caesars, under 19.5. This is a great one. It keeps you in the race, right? You can bet on all these different guys. They can get caught up in wrecks, have mechanical issues, whatever can go wrong. If you have a bet like this, there is going to be somebody in the mix until the very last lap. And as we often see in this race, the last lap is when the pass is made, right? You're going to have somebody, probably multiple drivers, in this that give you a chance. So I'm going to take under 19.5. Now, when you look at my outrights, I have some outrights. Actually, a lot of my outrights are over this number. And we'll get to those in a minute. But I feel like under this number, you get a lot of good guys. So under the 19.5 number, you get Chris Buescher. We just talked about how great he's been at finishing this race, and he's won here at Daytona before. You get AJ Allmendinger, who we also have talked about, who is under this number, that has finished top 10 in his last 4 starts outside of the blown engine last year. Ryan Blaney, arguably the top super speedway racer in the sport currently. You get Denny Hamlin. Sure, things haven't been great lately, but 3-time Daytona 500 winner. I just made a case for Ty Dillon. You get him. You get Chase Elliott, who's been a great drafting track racer. He's been solid in the Daytona 500 over his career. You get Kyle Busch. The one thing missing off his resume is the Daytona 500 trophy, but he's been a very good super speedway guy. You made a case for Daniel Suarez earlier. You get him. You get Brad Keselowski, again, great super speedway guy. You get Kyle Larson, who I've already made a point, getting better at super speedways. You get Noah Gragson. You get Austin Dillon, who's previously won. Sorry, Noah, I didn't have much else to say there, but Austin Dillon's a former 500 winner. You get Austin Cindric. Yes, I faded him earlier because of inconsistencies, but he's a previous 500 winner. And you get Ross Chastain, who's won at Talladega. Every driver, maybe outside of Noah Gragson, I guess, on this list, all could be there at the end and have a great shot. And certainly there's a case for the over to be made as well, right? But I think you're getting a really solid list of drivers under 19.5. And you get Chase Briscoe, who I totally left off because I, for some reason, started below 19. But Chase Briscoe, who was out on the pole last year, finished 4th place, I believe, in the 500. Strong day for him. And I've got him down as my champion this year. So I really like that. Winning car number under 19.5. This is a great one to keep the sweat alive. Look, make NASCAR betting fun again. This is how you make it fun. You have that sweat to the last lap, to the checkered flag. Love bets like this.
If you wouldn't have put that one in there, that would have been mine because I absolutely love that. There's so many. It's stacked. That whole under 19.5 is totally stacked. So what I wouldn't have done is I extended you by a few positions on this one. And I'm going to skip over this one and give you my winning car number. I'll follow you up with that one. I extended you up to 28. So you took under 19.5, and I completely agree with you on that one. But I'll also cover myself a little bit too with the winning car number 19 to 28 band. That is at 3-1 over on Caesars. And that one is so stacked at the front that again, you're stacked on the bottom. I'm stacked with Briscoe. So we're double covered on Briscoe. If Briscoe ends up winning this thing, you can cash both of these, right? That's the fun part about it. But it also gives you Christopher Bell. It gives you Josh Berry, who, look, we laugh, we joke, but Josh Berry is just as capable of winning a super speedway race as anybody else out there, right? It also gives you Joey Logano, who, by the way, even your Joey Logano very easily could win the Daytona 500 and start a championship run.
He's a 500 champ.
Exactly. So we got that. Then we got Bubba Wallace. We got William Byron. Both of these guys easily can win.
Byron going for the 3-peat, by the way. Hopefully he has better luck than the Chiefs if you're a fan of him. But
yeah. So, I mean, to me, that pretty much seals the deal. Those drivers right there, all of them are all. In fact, if you look at the winners, the actual winners of this outright, Joey Logano is the 22. William Byron at 10-1 or 13-1 rather. Yeah, these guys are all pretty much among the favorites to win this race. So absolutely love the 19 to 28 range, especially at 3-1. It's the longest odds on the board for the winning car number bands, and for good reason, I think, is because after that it just sort of drops off because there's no 28 car, there's no 25 car, but those four guys would have to win, and I feel like they can. So give me winning car number between 19 and 28 at 3-1.
Yeah, that's a solid group of guys. I like that. All right, Rod. In football, we have ladders we love to climb. In racing, shout out to JDK for coining this term for us as well. We have the car lift. That's what we're going to ride, and we're going to do it with the driver of the number 77. That's right. If you're watching on YouTube, I've got my Carson Hocevar shirt on. Let's go. I'm so excited for Carson Hocevar this year. It is the year of Hocevar. Rod, by the end of the week, if you don't know already, he's racing in all 3 races. I will have a parlay for him to win all 3 of these races because I am a fucking degen and I love this kid. But go look at him with Cletus standing on the back of his Dale Earnhardt truck, shooting the flamethrower. Like, what better person to represent winning NASCAR's biggest race than Carson Hocevar? So we're going to ride the car lift with him. We're going to start at the top 10, plus 200 for Carson Hocevar. Go to the top 5. By the way, top 10 plus 200, 365 has been the best place to find that. The top 5, 6-1 over on Caesars. Great place to find that. Top Chevrolet. So we got the Dylan in there earlier. We're going to round it out with the top Chevy here. 12-1 for Hocevar at Caesars. 38-1 to win the race for Carson Hocevar. 11th place in the fall of 2024 here. He had a 10th place finish at Atlanta last year, and the 2nd place finish, which if you remember in that spring race, they're coming around turn 3. There's a wreck behind them, but we didn't need to throw the caution yet. Hocevar's coming like a motherfucking bat out of hell, and they put out the caution and gave Bell the win, but Hocevar would have easily gotten him by the time we got to the line. We didn't get the win there, but that's okay because we're going to get it this week. 6th place at Talladega in both races, so he's been a solid super speedway driver. We don't have a ton to look at, only a couple of years into his Cup Series career here, but this is my guy this year. We're riding we're riding the Carson Hocevar car lift. Let's say that 5 times really fast. The Carson Hocevar car lift. And we're going to ride those Dente margaritas all the way to Chili's with this beautiful car lift route.
Carson Hocevar is an American professional stock car racing driver. He competes full-time in the NASCAR Cup Series, driving the number 77 Chevy Camaro. Listen, I don't...
You just couldn't find anything nice to say, so you just read his bio.
I don't know if I pushed you to be a bigger Carson Hocevar fan than you truly and genuinely would have been.
I think partially. But also, like, just look at this guy. Like, he bought the local Chili's in Michigan where he's from because they were about to close, and he's like, no, we're keeping Chili's alive. Like, he bought the Dale Earnhardt truck off of Facebook Marketplace. Like, he's that dude. He's so cool. He's so good for the sport. The personality, right? That's what everybody wants. Personality. This guy brings it better than anybody else. He walks around with the cowboy hat, the cool shades. Like, I just love the kid. I think he's great for the sport. He's also a great race car driver. You look at what he did in the Truck Series, lesser equipment in the Nice trucks. He did well. Then he's going over to the Cup Series, and he's been able to hang a couple of times with the likes of a Kyle Larson, as much as you don't want to admit it. We've seen, and he's got some big balls on him. He's going to go out there. He's going to go for it all. That's what I love. So give me all the Hocevar bets you can find this week.
Carson Hocevar is an American sports car. No, just kidding. All right, listen. That's all. That's all for Carson Hocevar. That's the only daylight.
Look at that. Brian Van Goder's mustache. Let's go, Cody. Says he has one outright bet already, and it was Hocevar at 35-1. Let's go.
I'll give you my Venmo, Brian. You can give me any Carson Hocevar bet you want to make in the future, straight up. All right,
I'm going to be paying out a lot when he wins.
That's fine. It's not going to happen. All right, I'm going to turn my attention to another market that I like. This one is the caution markets. You know me. My favorite color in the world is not yellow, whether it's on the field, the football field, or on the track. I cannot stand the color yellow. Therefore, I don't want to see very many of them on the track this year. So I'm going to go with under 7.5 cautions. This is at -115 over on the Caesars. In the last, or in 2022, the Daytona 500 featured 7 cautions for 37 laps. In 2023, the Daytona 500 had 8 cautions, so kind of got hooked on that one. But 2024, we had 5 cautions. In 2025, we had 8 cautions. So it's kind of been hit or miss on everyone, but even years, it's been under 7.5 cautions. Remember, you get 2 built-in cautions for stage breaks. But the thing is, it seems like, especially on super speedways, that cautions happen a lot. But really, 8 cautions and 2 built-in is not that many, right? 6 cautions for cause it's not that many in a 500 mile race. So as much as we tend to think that they happen all the time, it's not necessarily that. But the big one normally wipes out a lot of folks. And last year, we actually had 2 really big ones. We had a huge one at 192 that essentially took out 6 cars. And then a few laps later on 199, 6 laps later, we had another one that basically took out another 8 cars in that one. You don't get those very often, right? You'll get some big ones, and then people will calm down and realize, oh, that probably wasn't a good idea for me to push the situation. And so they tend to calm down a little bit, and then you'll see single file racing for a while because people are trying to conserve fuel. But, you know, and then in 2024, you got the big, gigantic one that took out nearly half the field on lap 196. But that's when you tend to get the really big ones, right? Toward the end of it, after the stage cautions are done, after everybody's tired of riding single file for, 70, 80 laps or whatever. And then it's go time, right? We've only got a couple of laps to go. We got to jet out and start the third line, and we're going to take everything out. So I know cautions, we get cautions, but like we've seen, even when it does go over 7.5, it's not like it's 12 cautions. It's 8, right? And it very easily could have not been 8 if they would have calmed down late in the race. So I'm going to take my chances. I just said too that I feel like this is going to be one of those races where a lot's going to happen, but maybe not in the wreck department. Maybe it's just a lot of strategy calls that get kind of wonky. But yeah, I'm going to see under 7.5 cautions. This is selfish because I don't want to see that many cautions in this race. So give me under 7.5 cautions. This is -115 over on Caesars.
I tend to be Team Chaos, but like I said earlier, it seems like they've settled down a lot more recently, and it seems like we usually get that one car that gets spun out of line early in the race, and then everybody settles in, and then at the end is where you start getting some wrecks, but a lot of times they've been holding it till the last lap before they're wrecking, and so then the race is over at that point. It's if you start getting into the overtimes and we end up in 3, 4, 5 overtimes, that's where you're really going to lose this one. But yeah, and oftentimes when we do get a wreck, it is a big one, takes out a bunch of people, and then less cars to wreck later on. So that's helpful as well.
Well, and that's the thing too, because we've seen too, what I find is funny, and I've screamed at the television set, why 5 to go? I'm like, why are you not starting this line? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you'll hear the commentators like, it's time to go, and it just seems like, and maybe that'll be an adjustment they make this year, but it seems like a lot of people are waiting too late almost to begin making those moves. I think because they're afraid of wrecking. But at the same time, if you're going to make the move and you're going to go get it done, maybe we need to start it earlier. So I'll be interested to see how it goes. But I definitely don't hate this bet at all. I think that it's got a good shot because, like you said, it seems like we get a lot, but we don't necessarily get a lot of them.
Indeed, yeah. So like I said, this is a purely selfish bet. I don't want to see cautions. So if I don't, if I cash this bet, I'll be happy on several fronts. So, all right. Boy, that takes us right into the outright section, Cody. How's that shotgun warming up for you?
Here we are. It's warmed up, Rod. So betting, especially on drafting tracks. So this week with Daytona, next week with Atlanta, it'll get different as we go down. You'll kind of spread it out differently. You'll go more towards favorites. You'll get a lot shorter favorites, right? But in the super speedway racing, really anybody in the field can win. It's tough for a few guys at the very bottom, right? But we've seen crazy wins. Crazy people win. Trevor Bayne wins his 3rd career start. Austin Cindric wins in like his 8th career start. We've seen crazy stuff, right? So anybody can win. Like our buddy Full Tank with Phil likes to say, you take a shotgun unit, you spray it out there, cover a lot of different people, and again, gives you action, hopefully, until the end of the race with somebody in the mix for this. So I've already told you Carson Hocevar is going to win the Daytona 500. I fully believe that. He's my guy. But just in case he doesn't, we'll take some insurance plays as well. It's going to start with Chase Elliott, 16-1 over on BetMGM. One of those guys that always is in the mix, always hanging around right there. Hasn't got too close. His closest time was 2020. The Penske teammates, Kozlowski and Logano, get into each other. You're coming around the corner. When did the light come out? Was it McDowell leading? Was it Elliott leading? It ends up being McDowell. McDowell gets the win. Elliott was close, but he's a guy that hangs around. He's a very good super speedway racer. We've seen him win a couple of times at Atlanta, much to my chagrin with the Corey LaJoie deal. We've seen him be good at Talladega. He's had almost won here before and then ended up pushing William Byron to win to advance him in the playoffs or whatever it was that year. But been a solid driver, 10th place here in the fall, 15th here in the 500 last year, 14th in 24, 4th place in the fall in 23, 10th place in the 500 in 22. So he's had some really good runs. That second place I mentioned back in 2020, won the Atlanta fall race as well. 2 wins there in the next gen, like I mentioned. 6 for 6 over the last 6 races in the top 20 at Atlanta. That's pretty solid. Again, not an exact comp at the drafting track, that type of thing. 5th place at Talladega in the spring. He won there in 2022 as well. So he's been very good. 16-1 over on MGM, I think, is a good number for Chase Elliott. Going to take him. Kyle Busch, you can get him at 22-1 over on FanDuel. The one thing missing out of this man's trophy case is the Daytona 500 trophy. Possibly his last year with RCR. It kind of seems like things are more looking like that. Free agent. This might be one of his last best chances to win this. Who knows what he's doing going forward, right? How much longer he has in the Cup Series. And especially in the next gen era and with Richard Childress, he's been very, very good at super speedways. If you remember, we had him in 2024 as an outright. He was leading as they got to the 500-mile mark. Unfortunately, we went into overtime and he didn't win, but had a bad race here last year. Happens. 24 race, he finished 2nd here in the fall, 12th here in the 500 in 24, 7th in the August 23 race, 6th in the 2022 Daytona 500. I guess it was 20. Was it 23 that I think it was 23 is what I wrote down, that he was leading at the end. Either way, he won Talladega in 2023, top 10 in 5 of the last 6 at Atlanta. He was part of that 3-wide finish there where Suarez got him and Blaney right at the end. Good finish. Great super speedway driver, especially in next gen. You know, guys like Denny Hamlin, I've been careful more so on the super speedways because he was really good in the old car. But since we've gone to the next gen car, 3 wins in the 500 in the old car. But since we've gone to the next gen car, it's not been as good of results for him. The adjustments doesn't seem to be there. Kyle's done well. Now we've got the new Chevy body as well. So with Elliott, with Kyle, maybe that helps this car run even better in the draft. Remember, they always had a problem. Was it being pushed or pushing? I can't remember which one, but
I think it was being pushed.
I think it was being pushed. So maybe they'll be able to be pushed easier now, and that'll help these guys get to the front, get to the win. Frank the Tank says he watched the Kyle Busch doc recently. I don't dislike him as much now. He's become much. We see this. We've seen the full circle with him and Denny Hamlin. They're not the villains they used to be. That's certainly true. Corey LaJoie is 45-1 on Caesar. Caesar's the only book, again, that I found earlier today that was listing him at all. So you might see some other numbers elsewhere. A reminder, he's not locked into this race. So if you want to wait to bet him, understandable, right? Check with your books rules or whatever. But the best opportunity he's had in that RFK Ford. If Corey LaJoie sees an opportunity to win this race, there's nothing else matters. He's not, I got to be nice to the other Fords. I got to be nice to my buddy. He does not give a fuck. If he's got a chance at that Daytona 500 trophy, what's the opening of our show say? I'm just going to put it to the floor until I see the checker flag or God or whatever it is. That's going to be Corey LaJoie in this race. 45-1. Let's go. Tyrone Gibbs at 50-1. Look, this is a great race to bet on guys you want to see win, Rod. Somebody I want to see win is Ty Gibbs. His grandpa's a 3-time Super Bowl champion. Maybe he picks up his first Super Bowl championship this week. Talked about him earlier. He's been solid getting to the end. That's what you're looking for in these guys. 50-1 on Hard Rock. Best number I could find on Ty. AJ Allmendinger, 65-1 on DraftKings. Again, I've talked about him plenty of times throughout this race. Been very, very good here. 4 top 10 finishes in a row outside of last year's engine. Solid. He's there at the end with a shot. 65-1 on DraftKings, a great number. And then I went all the way to the bottom of the board and started working my way back up. Who's the first guy I could see as the longest shot that realistically could win this race? I think it's Riley Herbst at 125-1 over on Caesars. Talked about him earlier. He's been decent on super speedways. He's in a good car. The 2311 cars are good. While typically he's not going to be good on a week-to-week basis, right? He was, I think, second to last to Cody Ware last year in the points, but not the point. He has a shot here at 125-1 in a good car. He could certainly get it done. So I know it's a lot of outrights, But again, you take your unit or two, you split it across these guys, longer shots. Think of this like a first touchdown as well. Predicting the winner in NASCAR is already tough. Super Speedways is even tougher. So the Hocevar part was in the 38-1 in the car lift. Elliott at 16-1 on MGM. Busch 22-1 on FanDuel. LaJoy 45-1 on Caesars. Gibbs 50-1 on Hard Rock. Allmendinger 65-1 on DraftKings. Herbst 125-1 on Caesars. Shop around, friends.
Indeed. Cody left me nobody to pick because he picked everybody to win the race.
Rod has the other two drivers.
I've got the other two drivers that are not represented on Cody's card. No, listen, and you're right. I mean, again, we talked up and down about super speedway racing and how picking anything is tough, let alone the guy that's going to win the race, because the person that's leading on the very last straightaway is not always the guy that's going to win the race, let alone the guy leading at the checkered flag sometimes is not the one that's going to win the race. So you just never know. But for me, I will take my two. I'm more of a sniper guy. Like I'll take two shots. If it takes two, you're not a good sniper, but I'll take a modified sniper approach.
If you get him on the second shot, you're just fine. It's a sniper.
I guess that's true, but
if it's a hit, it doesn't matter what happened with the first one.
Yeah, you better be running really fast at that point. But I'm going to take Ryan Blaney. Look, I gave out Denny Hamlin during the the Super Bowl show and the Daytona show. I said, if anything, Hamlin is one of those guys that's going to come out for a season among seasons, right? So much tragedy has been going on in his life the last few weeks. I know that he's not necessarily 100%, much like Brad Keselowski, but if there's anybody that can get there and get it done, it's Denny Hamlin. But I also think Ryan Blaney is another guy that he needs to have a magical season, right? 11-1 for Ryan Blaney to win this race. Ryan Blaney is the fourth best average overall in terms of finishing here in the Daytona 500, 12.3 average, but a fourth place in 2022, eighth place in 2023. Unfortunately, got Daytona'd in 2024, finished 30th, but seventh place in 2025. I mean, Ryan Blaney is just one of those guys where he is going to go out and he's just going to run his race, right? And Ryan Blaney is good enough to stay away from all kinds of nonsense. We talk a lot about Denny Hamlin feeling the draft and feeling the energy of the race is what they call it. Ryan Blaney is another one of those guys. In fact, he has got, and I'm not giving you all of the research from Win the Race, but I want you to know that Ryan Blaney has the highest winning percentage of all drivers, according to our buddies over at Win the Race. So again, there's something to be said there about that. And for him to be 11-1 on FanDuel when he's got the best shot of winning, I really do enjoy that number. And for Ryan Blaney, he's just going to go out and have a nice, clean race. He's not an overly aggressive guy unless he has to be. He's got friends, right? He's got good friends now in the Ford camp. Not as many of them, but definitely good friends and good allies in the Ford camp. So give me Ryan Blaney 11-1. And then my long shot is Justin Allgaier, 65-1. Again, he's got to make the race in order to make this work. But hey, listen, Justin Allgaier, the Xfinity Series champion, trying to be the O'Reilly Series champion. I mean, when you get an opportunity to race in the Daytona 500, especially if you're in equipment like Justin Allgaier is going to be in, right? The JRM equipment, which is essentially just Hendrick equipment with JRM logo slapped on it. You're going to run. And we've talked about how well all of these Hendrick Motorsports drivers run. Justin Allgaier is just as competent, I think, in my opinion, of a driver as any of them. Unfortunately, it just never translates to that when he gets the chance to run. And I think he's okay being a career O'Reilly Series driver. But by the same token, like, he's a damn good driver. And you put him in the Daytona 500 in the type of equipment he's going to be in. I mean, you made the case for Corey LaJoy being in the best equipment he's ever been in. And Justin Allgaier is always in the best equipment that he can be in. And he's going to do that again on Sunday with the best drivers out there, the best teammates out there to do this. 65-1 for Justin Allgaier. It's a long, long shot, but where he's at, the situation he's in, the kind of driver he is, he's not going to be trying to be overly aggressive and wreck Rick's car or Junior's car. Like, he's just not going to do that. He's going to find the right partners, the right dancing partners, and hey, maybe he's in the right place at the right time in the last lap to get that extra push and win the race. So 65-1 for Justin Allgaier. That's another one that I'm kind of going with my heart because I want to see Justin Allgaier win at Daytona 500.
Again, this is a great place to go with your heart because come Kansas in a couple of weeks when we get there for the spring race, Riley Herbst doesn't have a shot in hell to win. Justin Allgaier, if he was in that race, he's probably not going to win in the Cup race. So Riley's different story for sure. AJ Allmendinger, no. So, but they can win in these races, and that's what's great if Justin's able to make the race. And we gave out Corey, we gave out Justin. I feel pretty confident those will likely be the two cars that get in on speed Wednesday because they have Hendrick and Roush power, which you can't get much stronger than those two power plants, right? So, and I think they're going to put extra focus into that. Now, that's not to say that they won't, because front row's been great at qualifying, so maybe Chandler comes up and snags one of those or whatever the case is. But assuming they make the race, they'll have just as good of a shot as anybody else. Allgaier, a crafty veteran. I mean, we've seen the underdog stories in these 500s win before. Michael Waltrip, obviously that was a sad day for a lot of other reasons, but gets his first career win after so long. He gets to race for his buddy Dale, and Dale sees him going up to take the checkered, and Michael McDowell finally gets it done after 460 some starts, and Trevor Bayne is the youngest ever winner with 3 career starts, and anybody can win these races. And these guys, Allgaier, LaJoie, they're in really good rides for this, so very much capable, and they're both veterans. Like, that's even more to put on, right? They've been around drafting. Allgaier's been great at drafting in O'Reilly or in Xfinity previously, and he doesn't have all his JRM teammates to take him out at the same time. So it's a win-win.
That's the key right there. Yeah, all of those guys that are just running around trying to take him out, you absolutely love to not have that around you.
TK with an interesting point. Guys like that don't have to worry about racing for points. Points race starts already this week, folks. It's not a win and you're in. It's not we'll get it later. How many times have we seen it comes down to 1-5 points? Daytona could be the difference. That's going to be in the back of some people's minds. It's not going to be in the mind of Allgaier or LaJoie because they don't give a fuck about points. Or Jimmy Johnson, Rod.
Oh, thank God. I didn't give Jimmy Johnson out to win. I just want you guys, I want the class to recognize Jimmy Johnson was not an outright. However, I
can't believe you missed this opportunity, Rod.
You know why? Because there are no outright numbers for him right now. So best believe.
Is he not even listed at Caesars?
Not listed at Caesars for anything right now. So best believe, though, that when he does,
they're scared.
Hey, will know.
Jimmy's won. Does he have 2 or 1? I know he's got at least 1. I think he has 2.
Yep, I think so too. All right, get out your pen and paper. Time to go over our bets for the 2026 Daytona 500, baby. All right, it starts out with me. I gave you Alex Bowman as a pole sitter at 20-1, and then Elliott as a pole sitter at 20-1 as well. I said Daniel Suarez would finish better than Michael McDowell, his teammate, at -115. Also gave you Kyle Busch over Brad Keselowski at +105. I gave you John Hunter Nemechek as a top 10 car at 3-1. His teammate and owner, Jimmy Johnson, top 20. I love this one to death. I absolutely love this one. If there's one, go run to the table for this. Johnson, top 20, -110. Also top 10 if you really feel froggy at 3-1, which by all means I feel froggy. Then I gave you Bubba Wallace as a top 5 car at +375 and Alex Bowman as a top 5 car at 5-1. I said that the average running position of the race winner would be over 15.5 at +100. I said that there would hopefully be under 7.5 total cautions at -115. I said the winning car number would come between 19 and 28 at 3-1. Ryan Blaney to win the race at 11-1. Justin Allgaier at 65-1 to win the Daytona 500. Cody gave you Larson. Oh, there we go. Johnson 75-1 on Caesars. Tack that to the official card as well. Thank you, Cody. I'm glad they put that out. Thank you, Caesars. Love you. Cody gave you Larson pole sitter 16-1, Byron pole sitter 28-1, Hocevar pole sitter 50-1. I can't say that without throwing up. Allgaier pole sitter 100-1, and then LaJoie pole sitter 150-1. He gave you Ty Gibbs over Connor Zilisch at +105. Gave you Kyle Larson over Austin Cindric at +105. Allmendinger top 10 at +330. Herbst top 10 at +460. He gave you Corey LaJoie as a top 5 car at 5-1. LaJoie as a top Ford. This is at 16-1. I know that the graphic says 14, but that's because that was before the top Ford market came out for LaJoie. So 16-1 for him. Buscher top Ford 10-1. Smith top Ford 18-1. Nemechek top Toyota 16-1. Johnson top Toyota 20-1. Ty Dillon top Chevy at 40-1. Cody gave you the winning car number under 19.5 at -110. He's riding the Hocevar car lift for whatever reason. Top 10, 2-1, top 5, 6-1, top Chevy, 12-1, and the winner of the race at 38-1. His outrights include Chase Elliott at 16-1, Kyle Busch at 22-1, LaJoie at 45-1, Ty Gibbs at 50-1, AJ Allmendinger at 65-1, and Riley Herbst at 125-1 to come home with the trophy from the Daytona 500. Cody, love it.
Frank the Tank says these graphics are fire. If you're listening on the podcast, and maybe you grabbed your pen and paper and wrote all that down, but if you want to screenshot it, end of the podcast on YouTube, while Rod was reading all those off, we had the graphics up. And we're going to be better about that this year. We should have them for, I'll say, just about every race. There are times when we're waiting on odds until right before the show, and it could be a bit of a scramble, but graphics will be available at the end of the shows for almost every race this year. That's something we're definitely going to be pushing on. So, yeah, that's always, it's nice. And I know you guys like it for being able to screenshot. Obviously, you listen to the show, all the stuff, but it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to write down. If you're driving, whatever, you can, not while you're parked, obviously, don't do it while you're driving. Go over to the YouTube and grab the screenshots there.
Well, unless you're driving a car that drives itself, in which case I still say don't do it, but at the same time, whatever. It's a little less hectic on that.
It's a crazy.
And then let's see. Oh, wait, hold on. Psycho Chris saying, missed you all, boys. Welcome back to Daytona. Any thoughts on Briscoe? Go back. We got plenty of thoughts, Psycho Chris, on Briscoe.
We talked about him earlier. And get that. If you haven't listened to our official picks episode last week, we did pick our 16 Chase drivers each, gave out our favorite futures. I love the Chase Briscoe championship number. I'm big on Briscoe this year.
Indeed. All right. Thank you. Slow roll. We see you too. Yep. Great show.
Frank,
sorry about that, sir.
No, Herbst has a chance to win. Westover didn't have a chance.
Indeed. Cody, this was anytime we do the Daytona mega episode, this is probably what we want to do every single week, but we know that we would probably not get anybody.
We certainly could do a 2-hour picture every week. But if you're new, we generally keep it around an hour, usually a little bit over. But for Daytona, look, you got to go all out. We keep the cards a little more trim too, but it's Daytona. Go have fun. Treat it like the Super Bowl. Remember, it's drafting track racing. If you're newer to betting on NASCAR, stick around a couple of weeks. Daytona and Atlanta, the first 2 weeks are crazy. There's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of variance. As we get to Coda, Phoenix down the road, it gets a lot easier to predict. You're going to get a lot of shorter numbers. Not going to be as many long shots to take shots on, but a lot easier to predict and a lot more, in-depth head-to-heads, top 10s, top 5s become a much bigger thing at that point in time.
I'll tell you what my brother told me when he first introduced me to the sport. If you're listening to this episode and you're like, man, that's a lot, give us 3 episodes. Give us 3 races to convince you that this is something worth sticking for. And again, if you need any more, join the Discord, sg.pn/Discord. All the Discord folks will tell you to stick around. But if you're new to the show, and if you stuck around this long, first and foremost, we see you. Thank you. We love you.
Yes.
And give us 3 races. If you don't like us in 3 races, you don't have to announce your departure.
Call us and tell us about
it. Yes, please.
On the recap shows.
You've got a voice this season as well to do that. So,
yeah. Don't forget, we will have those live recap shows. You can call in via the Discord. Go over to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button there. We've been trying to do a lot of content over there. Lots of clips of the show and the shorts, stuff like that. We'll often throw up underdog picks or, hey, some bets on this that popped up or whatever. We're going to try and do even more of that this year. And click that bell. It'll notify you when we're live. So after the races, we're going to do our best to do Sunday nights. Sometimes it'll be Mondays, just depending on life and schedules because things are crazy. But it's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you join us. We really appreciate it. Don't forget to get in that Daytona 500 contest. Now that we've told you Carson Hocevar is going to win, you can go enter him over there, sg.pn/NASCAR contest. That's where you can get in on that and have your shot at winning some prizes.
Indeed. All right. I know it's bedtime for some folks out there on the East Coast, so let's put them to bed. Tuck you in, read you a nice little story about how Carson Hocevar will not. I'm going to write that book. I'm going to get AI to do the graphics for me as well. It'll be why Carson Hocevar will not win the Daytona 500. But
that recap show is going to be so lit. I wonder if I can get a to-go Dente margarita from Chili's, because if so, I might have to go get one and have it on the show. I bet don't know if they can do. We'll figure it out. Otherwise, I'll just make a margarita and tell you it's from Chili's. Either way, margaritas if Hocevar wins.
I feel myself getting ill. Cody, can we just please end this so you can get out of here? No, I'm just kidding.
All right. You can follow me over on the X at @Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my stuff over there. Follow the show as well at NASCAR Gambling. Again, pinned tweet over there. Has all the contests, the fantasy leagues. Get in all that stuff. Hit us up on the X, in the Discord, whatever it is. If you stuck around for 2 hours through the show, we appreciate you. Good luck on the Daytona 500. More shows to come this week. O'Reilly Picks show, Trucks Picks show, Friday, building lineups, underdog fantasy, whatever else is out there. Fantasy questions you have, we'll take it all. It's going to be a really, really fun season. Hell yeah, as NASCAR says. Let's fucking go. Good luck. Congratulations to your 2026 Daytona 500 champion, Carson Hocevar.
Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. You can find all the stuff that I'm up to there as well. We'll be back later this week with all kinds of great stuff for you to Daytona week, baby. That's all I got to say. So follow me on Twitter, follow Cody on Twitter, get in the Discord, have some fun with us. And yeah, we'll see you guys. We'll tell you whenever we get some odds for what we need to do. So until then, rest in easy, my brother. We'll see you again. Hopefully not soon, but soon enough. To Nick. Let's make NASCAR betting fun again. Let's go racing and let it ride.